very eventful times with the National Basketball League Grand Final Series on, but looking forward to this, Phil, and we're down here, down in Bev's neck of the woods, and gee, it's a beautiful afternoon for football.
And I saw him, Bev, fly past me in the open Mercedes as I was walking from the car park. He's going places. This boy knocked off Ken Sutcliffe last week. We're knocking off Packers mob. We are just flying. So it'll be a good game and a lot of gardening tips for you during the course of the day, Beverly.
I look forward to it. How are those sides looking?
Look, it's going to be a very entertaining contest. Sandringham, Phil, so far 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss to start the season. Frankston at 2-1 looking okay, but it's a pretty even season, isn't it? As we have a look down, the Sandringham boys about to come out onto the ground, just limbering up in the change rooms.
Very, very intriguing here, I think, Clinton. Hard to pick them, really. You think you've got them, of under control, and then bang, someone jumps out of the box and get a surprise win. Like Preston, hard to pick, of course, and Port Melbourne we thought were really killing them, and then they sort of back to the field. But Frankston, gee, Robert Macy's done a big job. It was a controversial appointment. There's no point beating around the bush. There were some who said he wouldn't do the job. They were good against Werribee at Werribee. They did well, but they just dipped out for a short period of time. They're a good side. Sandy, up and down, not quite sure how. We'll get a good idea today.
So a battle with a couple of new coaches. Bev, Graham Yates up against Robert Mace. Looking forward to it this afternoon here at the Beach Road Oval.
And I'm learning so much about those pre-game stretches. I'm going to be so good before my runs. Now, we've also got 2 other VFL games this afternoon. North Ballarat are at home to Preston, and Port Melbourne meets Springvale. We'll give you score updates from those 2 games throughout the afternoon. The Western Bulldogs and the Tigers took to the MCG last night to kick off round 5 in the boys who are ready for a spectacular match-up between Sandy and Frankston. Let's see how they are. They're out on the field already, boys.
Yes, they are, Bev. They've just come out, begun those limbering up. They've done their yoga. You can see Ross Booth in the bottom of screen. He's got all the inside word to tell us very shortly as we have a look at the VFL ladder as it stands at the moment after 3 completed rounds of the competition and 1 team streaking away. There's a lot that's been said about that team on top. Phil, Port Melbourne under Darren Crocker, and you see with 3 wins, great way to start the season, but it's so tight throughout the middle.
Well, when I said back to the field, Port, what I meant was they're not the standout. 2 points last week to Preston. It shows you that it's pretty tight. Even though they've won their games, they've had their frights. They've been winning them narrowly, so it's not like they're miles ahead of the rest. Frankston, very interesting. Willie, look, you know, Sandy, Werribee, Willie, Port, all big draw cards. If they all make this final 6, and these other sides, Springvale, really good side, no doubt about that. North Ballarat, gee, you know, crackerjack final series, and I know I'm predicting there as we look at the goal kicking, but Daniel Clark, now he'll play, he goes to the goal square. Mason's been using him in the goal square, kicked those 14 goals. I mean, he's a big man. He's up in the 6'7", 8" category in the old style of counting people's weights or calculating their weight, and he'll play against that man who's back, of course, and his name eludes me, and where's that
Shane
better
Bergman.
paper? No, Adam Coughlin will go to full back on him, so that'll be very, very interesting.
So there you have it, Daniel Clark, the leading goal kicker for the VFL competition at this point of time. In fact, let's take you now through the lineups for the respective teams and a couple of familiar faces, Phil, in either side. We will start with the Sandringham team first. You mentioned Coughlin down back, Mitchelson in the middle, Magnuson at full forward.
Well, Gilligan crossed over from Frankston in the ruck. Really good player, young player. Coughlin, Clinton, you know, magnificent player 2 years ago at full back. Mitchelson, a stalwart. Grant, around about the 32 mark. Scott Brannigan they need. Sauntner. They've struggled to kick goals. That's one of their problems. But that's not a bad side. This, you know, should be very interesting outcome today, I would think. And Frankston, well, Robbie Mace, he's got rid of a bit of the old guard. I think that's a good thing to have done. There were a few players there that weren't worth the spot in the side. Daniel Clark, where's George doing all right in the ruck? Now, players like Giorgio, God, he was at St Kilda as a kid, you know, went into state, back to here. He's only around about 22, 23, very good player. Bergman at fullback, class player. That's a good side. Mullane kicked 3 goals last week. He's sitting on the interchange. There they are. There's Bergman talking to the boys. He's on the left, number 40, and the big bloke Clark on the right. Roscoe. Both these sides look pretty good. I reckon this could be a very interesting game. What have you found out down there?
Well, yes, the Frankston club has had a complete transformation. Not only the local players being recruited, rather than the big-name players, but the committee too. Speaking to Graham Allen on the match committee before the match, so it should be very interesting. They're missing a couple of good forwards, Nigel Webb and Paul Williams, but for Sandy, they're missing a couple of their good forwards in Cameron Templeton and Lachlan Oakley. And Phil, an interesting player, you might have mentioned in the preview, Michael, I would believe Nguyen, probably Vietnamese pronunciation, but he's anglicised, Michael Nguyen from the Paran Dragons, so that he'll be an interesting player to watch, one of the first Vietnamese players to reach the top level of football, and he's got a step to go, hasn't he? Magnificent condition, a little bit of a breeze from the south, favouring the left of screen.
Yes, and as the world discovered in the 70s, Ross, they're pretty tough, the Vietnamese, so we'll have a good look at that. Jeff Twitt, our umpire. David Ackland and Tim Shearer. What can I tell you about those? Jeff Twitt is a self-employed plumber. How about that, Clinton? I didn't think the umpires were too good last week, so we better see how today. There's a couple of holding the balls. I've got to say, Kevin Mitchell, I've got to be fair and objective about these things. I thought they made a couple of blunders and Box Hill suffered. So will they be on the job today, Clinton?
We will wait and see. There is Daniel Clark, number 22 for Frankston. Alongside him, Wes George, as Phil mentioned earlier. There's Nguyen right there on your screen. Michael Nguyen wearing number 45 for the Zebras. 1-1-1 their record, a win, a loss and a draw so far this season for Sandringham. They started up with a win over Box Hill at Box Hill in round 1. Then in round 2, that draw with Preston, they kicked 12-20 that day to the Knights 14-8. And last week they went down to Springvale by 40 points. Frankston, on the other hand, 2 wins and 1 defeat. Wins over Coburg by 50 points. Lost to Werribee by 16. And then beat Bendigo by 103 last week. And Frankston had a good match in the reserves, winning by 46 points, 16-11 to 8-13. It sounded like the races. I heard the umpire say, red lights on, ready to go. And Jeff Twitt will be the umpire to get us underway. Sandringham to the right of screen, Frankston to the left. The Seaside Cup battle is underway with Gilligan for Sandringham winning the opening knockdown. But Malloy was there, although his kick forward has been marked by Coughlin. Down back for the Zebras, decides to play on, brings it towards the Seaside side, flying high to get in front was Sullivan, couldn't quite take the mark. Frankston a chance, oh man, wide open there was Miles, just went over his head. Now a chance for Sandringham to clear. Tregear delivered to midfield, finds Adam Quinn, decides to play on, sends it out very wide. The target is David Grant, the former St. Mark's, plays on immediately. Oh, give and go there with Sorton is okay. Grant towards full forward. A couple of Frankston players filling in the gap to knock it away. Now a chance for Giorgio, had it stolen away. This is Quinn on the run. Misses out to the right-hand side. Right below Can Hill. Someone says, ring the bell. We're happy enough. Ross Booth, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Clinton and Philip. Yes, well, Sandy have had a couple of close ones. Well, one particular against a draw against Preston, so that's why that call for the bell to be rung so early. At the back, the spoil was effective. Out of bounds. So now a free kick being plucked out by going the Zebras' way. And kick in from Scott Brannigan, chopped off by Butler. For the Dolphins, he's come from Somerville, one of the local lads. Coughlin judged it better. Just prevented the player pushing back into him. Centering kick. Couldn't find Haynes with short hair this year. Mitchelson, I should say. The captain on the left foot, inside 50 for Mitchell Grant in this week. Runs into Agnello. Good strong defence. And then a free kick advantage. It's paid Vokes. Now Malloy with sporting a haircut as well. Miles at the back, spoiling, pushing forward. Coughlin dispossessing McCormack, who seemed to have the run of the ball. 2 minutes in. The Zebras have the only score on the board, 1-0.
See, Haywood has the job on Clark. We saw there.
Scott Brannigan almost ridden in the back. Mitchelson at the foot. Oh, that's nearly a throw. It's a Wilder Sky scoop perhaps in there away, and Gilligan lumbers away. High kick towards centre half forward, waiting back. Working his way back to the pack was Butler, gets a free kick. Play on. Mark Corn takes it, kicks towards centre half forward. Waiting underneath it is Miles. There's Coughlin. 4 possessions already. If I get a vote today, I'll give him one perhaps just on this opening minute.
He's a terrific player, you know, Clinton. Really solid.
David Grant sends it up towards half forward and Sortner diving forward. Takes a mark. A couple of kicks out from goal. Spears it towards the pocket. Oh, that's a good grab. Well taken by Anthony Magnuson.
Magnus for short, Phil.
It's 55 metres out.
There's a Professor Magnuson, isn't there, somewhere? Or is it?
BBC interview, isn't it? Of the old days. Current affairs.
Magnuson from right on the 50 into the man on the mark. Like Peter Hudson all those years ago.
Well, it wasn't a very professorial kick, was it? And you see Bergman with the job on him. Big fella, Magnuson. He marked that ball well. Arms perpendicular like the old periscope. Good sign.
And Shane Bergman is the Dolphin captain. Crossing from Springvale a couple of seasons ago. There's Nguyen, 45. Hard at the ball. Haynes went to ground. Butler tried to charge his way through. Couldn't for the Dolphins. There's Butler. Mark. The Zebras in attack. Sortner grabs it over there. Did he get a high tackle? The kick was smothered anyway. Quick little kick by Bingham. Wide for Tim Scott Brannigan. Lovett's there first with the blonde hair. There was a picture on the papers saying that was Bicer, but it was just to throw us all. It's actually Lovett. Ben Lovett.
So, Sandringham half forward, Sortner over the top. Intended target was Haynes. It's cut off. Now Corn to try and clear for Frankston. Puts his teammate just under a little bit of pressure. Holcomb gets it away. Handball, though, almost stolen. Well, it's a bit of a scramble there. That handball was deemed legal. Bingham, he was dragged off it. Now Stringer working hard. And we'll have a bounce. Ugly little passage of play there.
Probably a good sign for Sandringham, though, that they're tying the game up. Frankston have been a high goal scorer in recent matches, so if they can really sort of smother them, things might open for them.
George wrestled off it, and he's given away a free kick. Well, his opposite number ran straight at him, but Sortner's going to come up with the free kick.
Claimed that he was shepherding there, the umpire. I'd have to have another look at it.
Now Nick Sortner, from 45 out, directly in front, misses to the right-hand side.
Gee, they needed that goal, Clinton. They've worked hard. It just gives you the confidence. Magnuson having a shot before and kicking into the man on the mark. The chances have been with the Zebras, Roscoe.
Yes, Nick Sorter would be disappointed. Works for the AFL, Phil, helping running the traineeship program. Up goes Burnell. Stringer ran into a wall, spun out of trouble nicely. Kicks to centre wing. Spoiling was McGeorge at the back. Loose ball for Malloy. Bevan. The smarter by Liddell was brilliant. The ex-Collingwood player worked hard running up from half forward to half back to stop that clearance.
He was a bit casual, though, Bevan, wasn't he? Look, he knew he should have gotten rid of that ball earlier than that.
So the contest between Gilligan, ex-Dolphin, he won it with the left hand. Bingham, and then Scott Brannigan was. Kicks to centre wing, spoiling good in the right spot was Haynes. Hand pass not so good, made the big fella Gilligan work, but he did it well to Mitchell Grant. Wobbles it forward. Sortner's a target. Agnello across the ground, could be very dangerous. Kennedy, good tackle, love it, and he wins possession nicely.
Runs away off of half back, delivers out towards the wing. The target is Malloy, but it's stolen by Mitchelson. Great play. Stabs one towards centre half forward, and that's a mark Endor free. Quinn's got it. Too far out to score. Here it is again.
Great play, Mitchelson, though. What a mark under pressure.
It was terrific. Quinn towards the pocket. Sortner was in front. It's too far underneath it. Chris Sullivan back in the back pocket. Marks against Kennedy. Kicks towards Miles, who flies and gives away the free kick.
Miles in the air.
And Miles too soon. Should be wearing number 19, but left it at home. So he's got 58. Mitchelson towards the pocket. Sortner over the top. He's been in plenty, but couldn't gather possession there. Love it. Hurries the kick towards the wing. This is Miles. Can't get it again. Wrestling with McKellar. Ball spills out. Giorgio ducks well. Ambitious handball. Bingham and Kennedy are there. Kennedy throws it away. It's ugly footy at the minute. Giorgio is there. We'll have another bounce. This time in the centre square. It's two behinds playing nothing after 8 minutes.
Tell me, is there more physical contact or less in the basketball in this game?
I think they should get a chance to score a goal, each of them, and start again, you know.
Gilligan's working hard in the ruck. It went straight to ground and winning the free, Tim Scott Brannigan.
They might bring back Sports Saturday, Phil.
Kick a little bit wide, looking for Sortner, and Lovett might be penalised. Sortner's claiming the free.
Well, he was shepherding. I think that's a pretty good decision there, Roscoe. I think the player Lovett was trying to shepherd out, and the ball was outside the legal range, which I think is still 5 metres.
Yep, that's too far.
He might claim that he was only just in the path of the ball, but I would say he deliberately kept Sortner out of the contest.
Well, you're trying even up with the umpires, Phil. After last week, Sortner gets the first goal on the board. About time. It took nearly 9 minutes, Phil. The Zebras on the board with a major.
God, nothing, so little was happening in terms of scoring. I was really going to talk about all the gardening activities that are available in the city of Bayside over the next month. But give me time, Ross. I've picked out a couple for you. Bit of reforestation or revegetation, indigenous flowers, the whole box and dice. But Sortner, 2 goals last week. We said a few times they've struggled to kick goals this side. I think you were onto their case over the past 12 months, Roscoe, and I was suggesting the midfield was a problem. But Sortner's a handy player, and Templeton out of the side. So he's going to have to do a lot of work.
And Oakley, yeah.
Yes.
So the Zebras leading by 8 points. Miles playing in front. There is the advantage of that. He will kick for goal perhaps from just outside the 50. Gee, Phil, for someone who walked into the box in a bad mood, you change your mind as soon as the ball is bounced.
Just see my smiling face.
Well, you people make me so happy. I feel it's good to be alive.
Jamie Miles will say just the same thing if he can slot this one through. From 50, it'll land in the square. Clark was there off hands behind to Frankston. The Dolphins on the scoreboard with their first score. It took 10 minutes behind.
Well, isn't that interesting? Clark has been the big danger, Clinton. That is the first time he's even got near to touching the football. You know, and we're going nearly 8 minutes or so.
Marked by McGeorge. It's 30 metres out from goal. Puts it high. Bit of a non-contest for Sandringham there. Bingham had to fly. Down to Quinn. He's tackled by Giorgio. Loose ball for Knott. Ball from Mornington. Kennedy trying to keep it in but couldn't. And there'll be a throw in alongside.
The old beach road fence, which is a famous old... What's it made of, that, Roscoe? It's not mud brick, is it?
No, designed by the East Germans, isn't it?
It's still got a bit of that in it.
Still standing.
It's hard to get over, too.
A few communists tried to climb that. Love it. Whips in the hand pass through centre wing. Burnell to half forward. Oh, Stringer late. The spoil was effective. McCormack trying to squeeze it out of the pack. Loose ball for Tim Scott Brannigan. Oh, try to find Coghlan. Giorgio lurking there, waiting for the spill.
Oh, well done.
Good hand pass. Sullivan, centre. Oh, he tried a banana. I think he's bananaed out of bounds on the full.
See, you've got to acknowledge, too, this is a hard ground. I should put it another way, it's not the easiest of grounds for sides to play at. It's a little bit on the narrow side. It really tests you, and they get a good spirit up to Zebras.
Hayward to Scott Brannigan. He's going to reverse it to Coghlan.
Good
now
play.
They'll set something up, although McKellar lost it momentarily. Mitchelson's got them off the hook a couple of times. Bingham back towards Mitchelson. They've worked it up to the wing. Frankston, though, half a chance. Ball ricochets the wrong way for them. Doubling back, Tregear's got it now. Sends it out very wide. Good spoil by Chris Vokes. Forces a boundary throw-in.
Well, they had the right idea, didn't they, Clinton? They got it into the corridor and then they messed up. That would frustrate the coach, Graham Yates.
Yeah, from the throw-in, George won it down. A little bit of a scramble. Now a chance for Giorgio. A couple of forced handballs. Intended target there, Burnell. Quinn lost it. Scott Brannigan dragged off it. Good handball from Mitchell Grant to try and set the Zebras up. Sortner Shovels the hand pass out. Frankston defence under a little bit of pressure now. Agnello with a touch of the fumbles, Kick off the side of the boot there. Now a chance for David Grant. Oh, Agnello there again to force it away. Malloy working hard. They're just trying to shovel it forward like a rugby ball. Now David Grant, clean possession. Back to Mitchelson.
Kick.
Sends it out the half forward. That's better. Now they can try and set something up. Kick towards the forward zone, and the mark has been taken. Mitchell Grant setting up Sortner. And now a chance for Sortner to get his second, and the second for the game.
Gee, that's a good grab there, under a bit of pressure from Butler, but he just holds him out nicely. Good set of hands on Sortner. Level-headed sort of bloke, Roscoe, as you well know.
There's for his second goal, misses to the near side. He's got 1 goal 2 of their 1 goal 3.
But the head must not have been as level as it should have been as he kicked that football, Roscoe.
Yes, 1-2.
For a bloke who's a good kick, he should have put that through.
Shane Bergman. Beach Road side. Long kick. Spoil. At the ground level was Georgia on the right spot. Stolen from Mitchell Grant. Heading for number 2 for the Zebras. They're finishing all right now. And after 14 minutes, the Zebras lead by 14 points.
Well, gee, Ross, would I be right in saying nothing really opening up for Frankston? The Zebras have smothered them, and you could notice in Clinton's call there's been a lot of in-close handball, and Clinton hasn't there, without the sides able to break clear. But it's out of those situations that the Zebras are winning the football, and they're really smothering Frankston.
Sandringham 49 possessions, Frankston 24. They've had 2-1 of the footy. They lead 15-1 on the scoreboard. They might get 50. No, just told to settle down in a stern tone. Tim Scotland not quite. Ball spoiled away. This could be a chance. Miles with a handball over the top. They've got an open forward line. Roberts. Good decision. Down. Advantage play on. Coughlin to Newen. Sends it out wide towards half forward. Good disposal. Gee, they're looking okay now. Tregear too far out to score. Drops it up. Couple of flyers are there. Magnuson over the top. Couldn't get it. Now Sullivan. That's just a hurried kick. Big fly. A bit too soon from Stringer. Players colliding all over the place. Still a chance for the Zebras, although Mitchelson won't be able to get it out of there. Or will they? Now a chance for Kennedy. Got a good shepherd provided by Gilligan. Good pass. Now Tregear on the run from half forward. Delivery to the pocket is wide. Oh, it bounces in. Sortner there against Agnello. Caught high by Bergman, is he? No, we'll have a bounce, or was it a free? No, it was high.
No, you get a
no, have a bounce.
I think the bloke approached him like Sortner was a wheelbarrow. He's just wrapping his arms around the handles.
15-1 our score. Sandringham in front. Zebra is working hard and too high. This time it'll be a free going to Quinn against Burnell.
Yes, Kevin Hines said to cut the hydrangeas, Phil. I'll do that tomorrow.
Boy, I tell you what, if he sinks this goal, Quinn, the Dolphins will be looking very, very sick, because they have not had a look in so far. Graham Yates, the coach of the Zebras, will be very happy at the moment. Of course, Graham has kicked that match-winning goal in the 96 grand final at Optus Oval for Springvale.
Second goal coming up possibly from a free kick. Number 3 for the Zebras looks all right off the boot.
Whoa.
They're cooking with gas, Phil, at the moment.
Whoa. Well, they wouldn't want to use too much, Roscoe, because there isn't a lot of that stuff going around in Victoria at the present time. But anyway, they are doing very, very well, the Zebras. God, their attack on the ball, but still hard to work out. They're not as smooth, really, as you would expect a top side, but the goals are coming. Hard yakka. Good in close work. They're spinning the ball out down here at Bayside.
They're winning all the stats. Hit out 6-2, free 7-2, marks 15-3. They are totally dominating. They've got it again. Newen, though, his handball stolen away by Holcomb, who can try and set something up for Frankston, and that's a good leap from Knott over the top.
Oh, get it long to the big bloke.
Yeah, give him a chance. Daniel Clark is the big bloke. That's the big bloke. Leave him one-on-one, and he'll get the job done. And this will be Frankston's first goal.
Well, that was easy in a sense, Clinton, wasn't it? We could see it. We're down that end, viewers. I can't see the other end of the ground, but I can tell you what's happening down that end. once he got the ball up in the air, there was going to be no chance. And that's where a bloke like Coghlan would have found his body against Clark. But Hayward couldn't.
So it takes 18 minutes, but Frankston get their opening goal. Daniel Clark gets number 15 for the season.
Yeah, well, they've taken a punt. Even though Coghlan is not as tall as Hayward, I think you'd agree, Ross, he plays like a tall, doesn't he? He uses his body. He's a real scrapper. But they've pushed Coghlan up the field and moved Hayward down to full back to play on the big bloke Clark. He's giving away a lot of height, and if they get the ball down quickly to Clark, he'll be in a bit of strife, Hayward, as we saw then.
Yes, but as you said, Phil, the inside 50 is about 7.
Well, that's
to 3,
right.
yeah.
You've got to get the ball to him. Not much point if he sits there all day and doesn't see the old coffee forward Sharon. Bayside Council sponsoring the day with the Seaside Cup, a beautiful part of town, this place, Roscoe.
Yeah, maybe you'll consider moving down. Here comes Giorgio. George won the tap beautifully. Good work in the middle. Sprawling was Hayward, was good. Kennedy, tight in the pocket with George, turns to the boundary line and on the full.
Gee, was there a push on Clark there, Clinton?
I certainly thought so, Phil.
From our end, we were behind. I don't know whether is it umpire Shearer?
Yes, number 2 is umpire Shearer. Yes.
That's just after that incident, but there... Well, was he over? I think he was over the line before he kicked the ball, yes.
Okay, so Daniel Clark to contest with his ex-teammate Gilligan. I don't know who won that, maybe Gilligan. Nguyen. Tackle, but no free kick. I think there'll be a bounce.
Good day to be out enjoying the footy.
Not a bad crowd here, too, at the Sandringham ground. One of the great traditional atmospheric VFL grounds.
What a great kick from Nguyen there. That was his goal all the time to force it out of play. A fair way from goal, and he did just that. Don't forget the Anzac Parade tomorrow morning live, 9 o'clock on ABC television. Hope you can join us for that if you can't be at the match. Have another boundary throw-in as David McGeorge sees it over.
A little bit of Anzac spirit in that huddle.
There it is again, the 2 number 12s.
Now, not there, number 12 won the best and fairest for Mornington in the Mornington Peninsula Pan Footy Leagues. Number 12, getting a good taste.
McGeorge trying the clearing kick. Now 2 number 17 set to go out at Holcomb against Mitchell. Grant Holcomb wins to Sullivan. This is good.
Beautiful.
This is very good, but he's smothered away. Nguyen comes up with it. Now watch out for the Zebras on the rebound. They can go. Ball taken by McGeorge. Handball to Coghlan. Has men sprinting towards the outer wing. Waiting, having to wait underneath it, David Grant, but he's a class act. Handball off to Kennedy. Kick towards half forward. They're really on the rebound, aren't they? Agnello holds up Bingham. Just needed to go a fraction sooner. Goes direct towards centre half forward. The lead coming out from Magnuson. Stolen away by Quinn. Got around a couple. Handball, Nguyen. He started this originally. Handball to Sortner. Brilliant. He gets his second. Great transition by the Zebras. It was perfect. And with Sortner's second goal, they're out by 20 points. And
started by the smother of George back here on that shot goal by Sullivan. Phil?
And Nguyen is playing beautiful football too as he gets into the game. You know what I like about him? Really good, sharp handballs. And he's very creative. He draws a player and tries to set something up. And class players do that. We know the great Greg Williams at Carlton was an expert at that, and the young bloke, who I presume is the first Vietnamese to play, would it be senior football in the VFL, I would think.
I'm pretty sure it would be. A good start, and they call him, teammates call him Mickey Nguyen. The Zebras go into attack again with a handy 20-point lead. Loose ball for Vokes. People's man kicks it wide. Corn. Away from the defensive 50. Got some leg speed. He's carried it to the wing. Kicks, looking for Stringer. Tregear's there. Tregear goes for the mark. Kennedy pushes it forward. Coghlan off the ground. Big Gilligan. Gee, it looks not unlike David Rhys-Jones coming through there, but a bit taller. Good volley Half volley pick up by Grant to Mitchelson. Wide, that's putting his team under pressure. High tackle.
Yes.
Just lucky.
Of course, Ross Booth and I are debating the linguistic issues here in relation to Nguyen's pronunciation. Do we anglicise it? We'll ask the Vietnamese Consul General to ring up and advise us. And that's a bad...
But Lovett couldn't get it forward. He had Miles all alone about 15 metres out from goal, but couldn't get it without a boundary throw-in.
I'll tell you what, there've been a few smothers in this game, haven't there? And not all of them, or several of them have come from mistakes by players.
Boundary
Three
throw-in.
wise monkeys you're looking at.
George hurries it towards full forward. Almost a mark end or free for Hayward. He claimed neither in the end. That's a grubbing old kick from McGeorge. George is back there. Now Sullivan from 45, centering ball good. Stringer should keep going. He'll wait and back himself from 45. What do you think, Ross? He should have handballed?
He's saying that it was work by Roberts with the handball.
Thank you. Thanks, fellas.
Guy Stringer from 50 metres out. Backed himself with a set shot. It's a behind as the kids chase down the footy.
We saw him play a blinder, Roscoe, down at the finals. Was it the one they lost? Port Melbourne. Stringer, he
more
had
in
a
defence,
really
didn't he?
good game. Yeah,
He
it was
kicked
one
good,
game.
yeah.
Maybe it was during the year, but it was one of those games, and he'd been struggling to
Yes.
hold a place in the side.
Strong mark. He marked well that day, I remember.
Now we'll see Coughlin here. He's got the zone defences out from Frankston. Where will he go? Well, have a look at that. That's what they do now. You go right to the line to break the zone.
McKellar was the target. High ball. Gilligan underneath it. Too far underneath it. Close to the line. Lovett can't keep that in.
It's interesting, that, isn't it? 2 kicks and the ball is about where in the old days a long kick might have finished up. So you'd be the judge.
Yeah, I think the second kick wasn't that effective. Created a 50-50. Here comes Gilligan leaping from the back. Good work, Coughlin. Into the centre, though. Good attacking footy by corner. Again, good quick running to Knott. Good kick, good mark. Oh, and 50, surely. Yep. Inexperience from Kennedy.
Oh, dear me.
So let's put this one down. It'll be straight in front because it's not 50 metres to the goal line.
Umpire Shearer was perfectly right in granting the 50 metres.
Lawrence Knott gets the Dolphins' second goal, coming after 25 minutes. And the margin back to 13 points.
Well, he was within range, Clinton, wasn't he? He was about 46 or something, but the 50 metres made all the difference. Yes, we hear that the runner is on his way
straight
out.
to him. Is he going off the ground? Would you take him off?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, it depends. I didn't tend to like to use it as punishment. I think that, you know, you've just got to tell him. He knows he made a mistake. It was not a lot in it. He probably thought he was trying to keep the pressure on, inexperienced, but really silly.
So for Sandringham dominating the quarter, they only lead by 13 points now, as we will have another bounce in the centre. 4-3 plays 2-2. It's been 79 possessions to 41 in favour of the Zebras. George won it. Sullivan, he's been prominent early. Hand pass out wide, it becomes a foot race. Getting there first, McGeorge. Sends it over for a boundary throw-in.
Seafood side. I'm actually going to make a stir-fry of seafood tonight, I think. Yeah.
No holding.
Can Ross and I come over or not?
Close looking.
Anytime.
Oh, yeah, right.
Twice a week for your seafood, Phil.
George won it down. Now Giorgio there. Handball. Just missing Malloy, who was trying to streak away. This is Mitchell Grant. Kick towards half forward. Good one, too. Diving into it, Chad Liddell, the former Magpie, with a long left foot kick towards full forward. Sorting, doubling back into the pack. It goes over the head of 4 players. Holcomb back there having to work. Now Burnell back to Holcomb. They can clear it out. Steadying with a left foot kick, hoping for the boundary line. Wobbling close. David Grant gathers it. Now a chance. Or was that almost high? Quinn goes down. And the Dolphins come up with the ball. Only momentarily.
To Bingham. Spears a kick in. Here's a chance for Haynes. Looking for it, trying to weave his way through. Big Wes George in the way. And now Vokes to relieve the pressure. No, he decides to run. try and find a man. He finds Watson, and that is allowable, whereas the other one wasn't. Watson looks for Miles, but in front the Dolphins is Kennedy, and an injury behind play. Kennedy wastes no time. Stringer loose, half forward. Now, big Daniel Clark's one out, makes the lead short, but yeah, I'm with you, Phil. He perhaps should have got it up more quickly. Well, he'll get the distance, will he?
He's just about on his distance, just about.
Well, it's got to be right on the line.
But yeah, look at that, you know. They've got to decide with Clark, you know, if he's going to be there, if that's the strategy, go back and get it on quickly. You see the move, Haynes, yeah, it was in that piece of play that he get a knock in that, but oh, GME, you've got to move it quickly to the big bloke. That's the game plan. Don't be messing around. There's the zone. He kicked to the line last time. Where will he go this time?
Goes very close to the boundary. Couple of Frankston players there. High tackle. Scott Brannigan, though, doesn't get it. Handball inside 50 for the Dolphins again. Kennedy can't get it. Miles has not with nearby. In the end, the handball comes the way of Dolphins towards Daniel Clark. Has to knock it down. Working very hard, love it. Tunnel ball style, trying to get it to Clark. We've got a boundary throw in. Time running out in this first quarter. 4-3 plays 2-3.
What are you thinking, Philip? Got a laugh on his face, viewers.
Daniel Clark, great work to the back of the pack. Brilliant ruck work. Just super ruck work results in a goal on the siren. John Giorgio in the end finished it, but credit half of that goal to a superb tap from Daniel Clark. From the throw-in, just knew where his teammate was. Watch this. That is absolutely superb, and with a second to spare, they get the goal. Sandringham dominate the quarter, but at quarter time, it is just a 6-point margin, 4-3 to 3-3 in the Seaside Cup.
Clinton, how can it be that a smallish player, like I think it was Coghlan, should be going up in the ruck against Daniel Clark? That's a giveaway goal. It's a tremendous tap by Clark, but look, I mean, the difference in size, they're the percentage things that can kill you. You must cover that. We saw a game lost in the AFL, didn't we? Only a couple of weeks ago with a tap on where there was no player there going up for Hawthorn and no one covering the goals.
There was only a second or two to spare, but at quarter time here at the Beach Road Oval, it's Sandringham 4-3, Frankston 3-3. Bev, desserts turned up. It looks fantastic. We'll speak to you in a few minutes.
Put it, and that's one of the largest huddles I think I've seen in a long time.
It's looking good, isn't it? All the Sandringham fans have turned up, and Phil, some nice shots of surrounding areas there.
Well, it's a beautiful place to be, Sandringham. It's no wonder Bev lives here. I mean, she just is a woman of great taste.
Let's have a listen to the coach of Sandringham, Graham Yates.
We've got to push across the ground. But the physicality part of it was terrific. You know, we controlled it. We just let him in the last 5 minutes. That is concentration. Come on, boys. Concentration means you just set yourself for the full 30 minutes to make sure you've got your man covered. We don't let them go. We don't blink. We just think about exactly what's happening out there and we concentrate. We've just got to make sure we control it. And then when they get it, that we've got to cover them, okay? That's it, so we've got to control it, okay? First 20 minutes we controlled it and we got on top of it, but we just let them in with a couple of lazy things and we weren't thinking. So we maintain concentration and we go on with it.
Finish it off. Spot on there, first-year coach Graham Yates let them in there. Frankston down by just 6 points at quarter time. He mentioned physicality. Here's how Mark Haynes exited the game, number 14 for Sandringham. Eyes off the ball, and then Big Wes George says, see you later.
Well, he just collected him. In fact, Haynes virtually walked straight into him, didn't he? Unprotected. And you must be careful there as a player. Haynes really should have dropped the shoulder and gone straight into him as we see the play move on. And Saundner was good in that first quarter. He kicked 2 goals. One of them was a gimme, I think. We've seen some very good highlights brought back to us by our producer, Alan Pridmore, and all the people in the videotape section. You couldn't get better than seeing Haynes go down to Wes George, but that was another goal there. I think that was to Mitchell Grant, was it? And Nguyen, who's been very good there. That ball was intercepted. You would have seen him just handballing the ball, but he's played particularly well. But yes, Clinton, Graham Yates was happy with the way they were going at it. The physical side of the game was so obvious, and that's what Frankston needs to do, get the ball down to Clark quickly. But we've noticed, I think we agree on this, that they've been a bit slow to do it. The kicks, Sandy's had a lot more of the ball. You could see it all there. They've been hard at it, Roscoe. The stats say that Sandringham have been good in close, and Graham Yates seems fairly happy.
Robert Mace, not that happy, you can imagine, with just the 3 goals. He wanted it closer, tight. It was pretty tight anyway, but he wants it even more so. And John Giorgio and Bevan Malloy, not to lose their feet if they do get up very quickly. But Robbie Mace, he shook my hands before the match. God, it's one of those killer handshakes, and I think that they'll lift this quarter.
I thought you were shaking, Ross, during that opening quarter. Thanks for that.
He hasn't. He must have forgiven you, Ross, for all those things you said about him a few years ago.
Zebras go forward to start their second term. Bergman is there. He's been quiet so far. David Grant, can he keep it in? And yes, he does momentarily. Sullivan was there. We'll have a boundary throw in. Leading possession winners across the opening quarter for Sandringham. Quinn had 8 touches. Sortner had 7. Coughlin had 9 possessions and 4 marks. Tim Scott-Brannigan 6 possessions, while Sullivan had 6 possessions for Frankston. Likewise, Giorgio. Thanks to Paul Field, our statistician, for those numbers. As the Zebras go forward again, putting in the hard yards, but not quite reaching it was Magnuson. Caught behind Shane Bergman, the captain of the Dolphins side. Goes short for Lovett. Saw him out forward at this end during the opening quarter. Now doing some work down back. Kicks towards the wing. Third in line was not. Local fans wanted a free. Kennedy does the roving, and Sortner's got it.
That was beautiful play by Kennedy. Clinton, was it the way he just stepped through those players, sized the kick up with pinpoint precision, and Sortner just sauntered into the mark, Roscoe.
He's got 2 goals already this afternoon, Nick Sortner.
Big kick, this one, within range, just to the side.
Land in the square, Bergman at the back. Well done. Forces the rush behind to the Zebras to get the scoring underway for the second quarter.
Good crowd in, Phil.
Yes, a good day. Bayside Council doing the right thing. They've got a tent here to give people information about what's going on around the place, Roscoe. Good community day down at the VFL. It's the place to be.
Lovett kicks to Giorgio.
In this madcap, alienated world, this is the place to come to relax.
Yeah, spend an afternoon with Phil Cleary. Really helps you. Sullivan off the outside of the right foot. That was clever. Into the corridor. Bouncing ball for Miles. Spooned it up, I should say, to Roberts. In towards Clark. Good spoil, Hayward.
Excellent.
Not. He's kicked one. Hooks it enough. That's not bad.
Got it.
Very good indeed from Laurie Knott.
Well, Roscoe, that was classic front and square stuff, wasn't it? The old David Park, and he'd be pulling the old front and square line out of the box at half-time to talk about that one, as coaches are these days. But you see, Clark, Hayward does well on this. You see him, he's under pressure. Look, there's no one there, but Hayward gets the left hand on it, but Kennedy overruns it. And Knott says thank you very much and pings it right over the head of the umpire at Can Hill, end of the Beach Road Oval.
So all of a sudden, it's a 1-point game. It was 20 a couple of times midway through the first quarter. Even as late as time on, it was 20 points in it. Frankston have kicked the last 3. They go forward again. Roberts soccer up the ground. Everything now is falling the way of the Dolphins, and Bevan Malloy can give them the lead for the first time. This one has turned around. Now Bevan Malloy, as you see his numbers to this point, very gettable. 40 out, misses terribly to the right. We are tied at 28.
Adam Coughlin spent some time with the Sydney Swans. Back now the Zebras. Precision kick to McKellar in front of Roberts. Wide to David Grant. at the stretch. Solid bump, didn't interfere with the head. Oh, Stringer got it back. Grant, good work to Scott Brannigan, puts it high. I wonder if that was his intention. Holcomb spoiling for Frankston at the back. Here's Nguyen, looking for a hand pass, nowhere to go. Good evasive skills. A wobbly punt kick up towards Magnuson and Bergman. Burnell's at the back. And he'll clear it nicely to half back into Paul Kennedy. Two Paul Kennedys, a helmet for Sandringham and without for the Dolphins.
And it was the Dolphins' Kennedy who's kicked towards midfield, has been marked by Sortner, decides to drop it off short. Intended target Tregear, well punched away. Bingham sees it over the boundary line for a throw-in. If it was basketball, Phil, I reckon we've had a few fouls now.
Yeah, well, that was a good courageous mark, talking about blokes getting whacked by Sortner then, and he's taken about 9 of those 4 marks, sorry. Very gutsy sort of mark, knowing the pack was right behind him.
Gilligan won it down. It goes nowhere as Coglin's well tackled.
Not only a colourblind, Phil, you can't count.
Well, I didn't know what Paul was doing. He had a V there somewhere. I took that as 2, but he was actually giving me some kind of other message. I added it instead of subtracting it.
Close to the boundary line. Lovett knocks it over. We'll do it again. As the gentleman munches on the pie in the background, he's enjoying his afternoon at the footy, VFL style. 5.5 minutes into the second quarter. Frankston with the last 3 goals, 4 of the last 5 after the Zebras started with the first 3. Gilligan went too soon. George knocked it down. David Grant is there, good on either foot with the left. He kicks to centre half forward. From behind, it was well punched away
well done
by Vokes. There's some work in close there. All trying to be shoveled away. We'll have a bounce. 45 out from the Zebra goal.
Good move of David Grant. I'm pretty sure he's playing on the wing, Roscoe, and he's been good in that midfield, taking a little bit of pressure off him at age 32. A good move, I would say.
Sortner and George. George in the end with a couple of palms. It's free kick to the Zebras. Going against either George or Holcomb who were there. Maybe against Holcomb in the end. And Sortner from directly in front, just inside the 50, is well placed to goal.
Well, he'll get the distance, no question about that.
Some nervous pacing on the boundary line. Nick Sortner should goal the right foot up, and does. He's got 3. He's excited. Zebras in front by a goal.
He's played well, Clinton, hasn't he, so far? He's really held that.
10 possessions and 4 marks, 3 free kicks, 3 goals too.
I'm working out Paul's coded hand signals now. I've worked out those 2 hands up means possessions, and then he does a little flick to give me how many marks and handballs. It's 10 and 4 marks, I think. I got that right. And Sortner with 3 goals. That was the other message he was giving me too. So he's played very, very well, Nick Sortner. If he can hold up there, they're in with a big chance, the Zebras.
Big task here, back up again. Webb off the bench, up towards Sortner, stretches. Holcomb maintains his... Oh, no, he didn't. He went down, I spoke too soon. Robbie Mace will be unhappy, but he recovered well. Whips out the hand pass to Bergman. Good smother by Nguyen, was it? Got it back. Quick little handball in close to Scott Brannigan. Looks for Liddell. He's got it. Yes, he has. Chad Liddell, too much body strength there.
Oh, is he the man Eddie Maguire's looking for to get out of his horror run, Roscoe?
Maybe. A bit late. Chad Liddell, ex-Stingray, now into Collingwood, now to the Zebras.
Gee, this is a big kick. Fighting back, the Dolphins edging close, and then that goal to Sortner. This would really give them some confidence.
It'll be Liddell's first. It's offline, just scraping in for minor score. 7 points to the Zebras. When you didn't ask me who I tipped, Clinton, but I would have tipped Frankston. I'll still stick with him.
And who did you back in the end?
There's Howard Lee again on the screen.
Oh, I sort of thought that Frankston would get up, so I suppose I'd have to say I thought they'd just get home.
Butler clears the defensive 50 with his kick in. Bergman the target, punched away from He. Now a chance for George. Wamba's after it, well tackled by Tim Scott Brannigan. We'll have a boundary throw-in.
I don't know if they have beached whales on the Sandringham beaches or down at that nude beach or not, Roscoe, but I tell you what, he was like a beached whale then, Big Wes George, wasn't he?
Gilligan to Mitchelson. Scrubbing old kick, wobbles towards the 50. Lovett goes without it. Burnell is back there, shovels a handball to Sullivan, kicks it to no one wearing red. And Coughlin is back there to take the mark for Sandringham. Has a loose man out wide, that's Webb. Arrives on it, takes it. Wants to try and find some men leading into space, goes towards Magnuson. He'll be third in line. Liddell over the top, couldn't get it. Scott Brannigan! Yes! Goal to Tim Scott Brannigan. Sandringham have rallied in the face of the Dolphin comeback, and they now extend their lead back to 13 points.
Well, Clinton, as you called that, I think you called Liddell coming in at the back. There was three of them concertinaed, weren't they? Have a look at it. They were all caught up in the big Magnuson, Saundner and Liddell, and that one man at the back, Scott Brannigan, and he just pinched it and kicked an easy goal. Can you believe that?
They're back out by 13 points, 6-5 to 4-4.
Yes, the Bayside Cup, Roscoe, which you'll be delivering via the Mayor today after the game.
Yes, I spotted the Mayor in the
Seaside Cup, sorry.
huddle. Actually in the Frankston huddle. Maybe he's getting some good oil. Kick by Roberts was smothered. Another go at it. Backwards goes David Grant. Giorgio.
That was impressive.
Miles. Can't possibly get rid of that. There'll be, I would expect, a bounce. Nasty tangle. In comes umpire to Twit to untangle us.
I think that Frankston player there was just trying to advertise the whatever he's got in his backside there. Probably practiced that during the week of training, Roscoe.
For the sponsors, increase the sponsorship. Very important in modern day football. Gilligan wins it with the left hand. Mitchelson's trying his hardest to Mitchell Grant. Magnuson won't get to it from the side. Good mark to Vokes, courageous at half-back.
Was indeed. He's got a couple of men out wide. They have to wait for it, but in the end, Watson's got it, decides to play on, backs himself, gets the hand pass away to Corn. They set up an attacking go here towards 50. Flying was Stringer. He was third in line. Coughlin's had plenty of the footy today. The ball now ends up with Adam Quinn. Now the Zebras on the rebound. Driving past it, Magnuson got a metre or two on Bergman. Couldn't trap it on the volley. Gee, the 50-metre arc wide open. Bergman can have a picnic as he wanders back. Now gathers it, just drops it over the top. They have plenty of time to try and set something up. Running away now is Butler. Kick wide towards George. Has a teammate alongside and Lovett. They both miss it. David Grant forces it out for Gilligan. In the end, it bounces off Lovett over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Phil, you're surprised that David Grant is on the wing, is named on the wing, that Brucey Bowles would actually give us the right side?
Well, yes. There's Robbie Mace in the box there.
Magnuson going off for the Zebras. No, well, he was. He's still now he's heading for the bench as the Zebras make a change.
They're a bit, not so much, well, not whether it's so much top heavy, but he's a bit slow, really, Magnuson. When the ball hits the deck, they're in trouble. But it's a dicey one. You do need some height down there, but they're not all that quick.
Replaced by Ben Oakleys. The ball squirts its way out of the pack. Zebras streaming forward now. Burnell was in hot pursuit, but the kick goes out wide. And over for a boundary throw-in. Bingham, who hasn't yet to kick a goal. And he's still yet to get on the score sheet. Your writing's awful, Ross.
Ben Oakley on the ground replacing Magnuson, Roscoe, so he's a fairly mobile player.
6'5", plays 4-4.
Bit of feedback.
Saundner gets it down. Still a chance. Saundner for number 4. No. Out on the full.
Up by Ackland, letting the players know what's going on. Lawrence Knott with a kick. Mornington Rover, ex-Bulldog. Unkindness in the crowd. Gilligan in good position. Oh, I think he might have been paid that. No. What did you think, Phil? Enough?
Don't know, Roscoe. I'd have to have another look. I think the umpire was probably right to not pay it. It was a whisker, wasn't it? Whisker off. No, I don't think it was a mark. He should have held it.
George battles again. Back line. Corn. Gilligan over the top and Soft free kick. The lane. Looking for his 200 game, I think it might be. He's in the high 190s. Coming off the bench for the Dolphins. 190, this will be 191.
Well, he kicked 3 goals last week, Roscoe, so he's still a handy player.
Vokes with the ball at half-back.
High ball to the attacking side of the wing.
David Grant, gee.
Still reeks of class, doesn't he?
He does, Clinton. That is a gee whiz.
Crowd getting vocal, wanting 50. It's not forthcoming. Grant to centre half forward. Dolphins have the numbers. Coming up with it, Giorgio. Getting buffeted over was Holcomb. Hot footy now. Quinn, Kennedy, caught, lost it. In the end, it's shoveled out. Now a chance. Scott Brannigan waiting. Yes. Takes the mark. That was well done by Sortner. He was going to go and take the mark. Saw Scott Brannigan had it. And now a chance for another goal for the Zebras.
Wasn't it good work of them to get out of that fix in the middle, though? You know, with sharp handball, a bit of deft footwork, and bang, to get it up. Scott Brannigan held it beautifully.
You see the angle for him. He bends it back and gets it.
Good goal.
Good work by Oakley in the square, shepherding off Bergman. There was no other help from the Dolphins. And now the Zebras have kicked the last 3 and they're back out by 19 points.
Scott Brannigan, well, this is the bit of play. What I like about this is they're under pressure. They're handballing the ball off, trying to find the space. Kennedy there, out comes another handball. And finally, and Scott Brannigan, Ross, that's beautiful use of the body. He holds his ground. He's got really good balance, Scott Brannigan. Once he plants the feet, he's a strong player. Did that very nicely. Copybook stuff in the end.
Good work in the middle too from McGeorge and Webb to help get it forward.
Great pictures too.
Volleyed away by Knott, but only as far as McKellar. Here's Mitchell Grant. Oh, he got a couple high. Webb's a left footer, that helped. Sortner. Holcomb spoils. No mark, I reckon, Phil. Good decision.
Sortner's lost his contact lens.
Yeah, he has. I think the umpire's right. Good, he taps it away. That's fair. Did Sortner find the contact lens?
I don't think he did, but he's going to keep playing. He had to go quickly, see if he can win this one. George won it down. Frankston away momentarily. Gilligan had it, lost it. Sullivan working there with Kennedy. Now can they try and set something up? They haven't had anything here across half forward over the last 10 minutes. Coghlan perhaps the reason why. Newen, geez, showing some good touch today. Coghlan gathers it. Delivery to half forward. Scott Brannigan is there. Boundary line looming. Flicks it over the back of the head. No one home. But that goes out of play. Line of boundary throwing. Sortner still looking for the contact lens. Have a boundary throw in. It's Tim Scott Brannigan. He's been around the fall. George uncontested. Scott Brannigan caught high. Will take the free. Probably too far out to score, being 55.
Well, you remember the one he kicked in the grand final 2 years ago from in front of the little box down at the old grandstand inn at Port Melbourne? About this distance.
I do.
51 out in the end. There won't be enough on it. And in the end, it's off hands for a behind.
Yes, that was one of those classic goals in that grand final 2 years ago. He pushed everyone aside, the water boys, the trainers, a lot of them, and went back and pinged a magnificent goal. It lifted the roof off the place.
Butler kicks it in. Bergman's a target, perhaps. He leaps to the back, not spoiling, but trying to mark. Burnell had the opportunity. McGeorge gets the crumbs. Chips in towards Quinn. Spoiled by Vokes. Sullivan, nice deft work with the hands to control the ball, and a beautiful kick out wide to Corn. He might call Vokes a moment ago, but this is definitely Corn. Malloy steadies. Puts the kick to good position. Finds Paul Kennedy of the Dolphins. Daniel Clark lurking in the goal square. That comes in his direction. Second touch, cleared by Coghlan. Towards the line. Bounces nicely for Grant, but he's under pressure, but he's got good support. Kennedy ran at it strong. Nguyen, or Nguyen, I should say. tackle, loses possession.
Right the first time, Roscoe.
Yes, McKellar. Old habits die hard.
And I'll call him Mickey, as everyone else does, as his teammates do, just to not get in the way of you two. As McKellar tried to clear, Frankston still with a chance. Burnell finds not, hurries a kick forward. That's okay. And Roberts has it. The crowd thinking that he was off, just to stir up the umpires. Ashley Roberts near the boundary line. Walking back a long way, surveying his options, wants to try and give it off if he can. Now he'll go for home. From 40. Across the face, one behind. As we come up on time on of the second quarter, Sandringham 7-6, Frankston 4-5. VFL match of the round, live across Victoria. Hope you're enjoying it. Round 4, Clinton Gribus, Phil Cleary and Ross Booth with you from Sandringham. That's on the full, Ross.
Yes, it is. McKellar tried to steal it. Boundary umpire, wait to that. Now Clark again, the target. Bit high for him.
Oh, yes.
Good mark to Tregear. Tregear to Newen. Then provides a Shepherd. Michael Newen got a lead from Webb, who's out in front. Oh, he misjudges it in the end. And Butler did better. Into Giorgio. A couple of back steps. Has a look. Pinpoint pass to Mullane. Trotting style of running. High steps. Kicks deep to the pocket. A push. 2 free kicks. If you weren't sure of the first, you'd have to award the second. By a twit. No pun intended. There's the first one against Hayward, and there's Tregear. Make it certain. A big Daniel Clark. 15 goals now in the season so far. George rucking for the Dolphins. Daniel Clark at full forward. Very hard to counter with that height. Slews it to the right, still in play. Big jump. Spoiled by Magnuson, rushed over by McGeorge.
Gee, they're a tough, tenacious side, Sandringham. Been a great side over the journey. Produced some superb footballers. Always hard to beat down here.
Coghlan to bring it back into play. As a 2-on-1. Sullivan goes down, will take the free. 3 goals the margin. It was 1 goal in it at quarter time in favour of the home team, the Zebras. Sullivan centres it. Clark has 3 to beat. Now a chance for the Zebras to try and clear something away, perhaps. It becomes a foot race. Webb trying to get there first. Mitchell Grant with possession. Had it stripped away. This is Mullane. 55 out. Kick touched off the boot. It will be play on. Coghlan is there as he's always been. He does it beautifully. Kennedy to Liddell. Has the mark. Gets held up momentarily. That was well done by Vokes just to slow it down. Liddell towards half forward. Getting close to the line. Webb brings it inside 50. Not. Has to be clean with his disposal here. Does well. George. Now he's got absolutely no one aside from Sullivan about 15 metres in front. He waits. Oh, now he just wobbles one towards half forward. In the end, it wasn't all that bad, but Stringer
look at this.
wasn't going to get it. Magnuson, this is where they've got the numbers. The Zebras. Can Oakley get it? He's got Quinn short if he can get it to him. So it'll go back to Adam Quinn. In fact,
so what's the rule?
It's going to go to Oakley.
It's got to be 50 metres. It's a trip by foot.
Sortner takes it on his chest and will kick for his 4th goal.
Check your rule book there, Roscoe, as we...
Accidental or intentional?
Well, I don't know.
A hand
Asked me
trip's,
2 questions
a
here.
hand trip's 50, and I think an accidental foot. Anyway, Sortner's lining up for number 4, and he's got it. He's got 4 in the first half. 2 in each quarter. They've kicked the last 4 goals now, the Zebras. It's 4-2 to 1 behind, or in fact 4-2 to 2 behinds over about the last 20 minutes. And And that's why they've worked their way back to a 4-goal lead.
Well, Oakley there, giving him a little bit of mobility on the forward line, blending in with Saunders. Can't find that rule, but we'll have to just check. I would have thought the trip by foot is a 50-metre. We know a deliberate trip by hand is a 50-metre and not reportable. There is a question of reporting, isn't there, by foot? We've got to just, it's a question whether accidental or deliberate.
George, well, the bounce didn't favour him. It did favour Magnuson. Malone couldn't clear the area. Tackle wasn't high.
It's just got to be intentionally tripping. Where a free kick is awarded for intentionally tripping, a 50-metre penalty she'll automatically apply.
That's an intentional trip. That should have been 50 metres.
Well,
not much gets past me, Roscoe.
No, it's just whether it's, I agree. The umpire might have seen it that way. It's the only thing we can think of. Out goes Malone. Ooh, George, that was a throw. Now Malloy's got it. High ball. Clark caught lumbering. Hayward in front takes the mark. And Hayward relieves the pressure. Over 25 minutes. 24 points the lead to the Zebras. They're playing really well. Tregear in front of Knott. Along the line. Bounces just inside the line. It'll be a throw in. Cap to protect the head from the bright sun. 20 degrees top in Melbourne today.
What a beautiful part of the world this is, Roscoe. Lovely day, beautiful sunshine, lovely ground, just near the beach. Oh, dear me. I've had lots of money, you know.
What's that, Ross? Phil can go out and enjoy the sunshine for the second half.
That's right.
54 plays 30. Zebras by 4 goals. Magnuson knocks it down. A little flick over the head by Paul Kennedy. That's the Paul Kennedy of the Dolphins. One-on-one contest here.
Beautiful.
Mitchell Grant lost it at the last moment. He just about had it and was away, but the Butler gets it. And Butler delivers to Stringer on the run from 50. Loads it up. Goes to Daniel Clark. Clark, goal. He's got 2. That's what they needed nearing half-time. They get 1 back. They're within 3 goals, the Dolphins.
Well, Clark just, as I said, I'm at the northern end of this ground, or we're at the northern end of this ground. We're doing as a special commentator trying to spot everything. Clark just leaned on his man. Did he give him a little nudge? Well, the hands were there, but they let him go. He held his ground and the hands did the same. So that was the right decision. And that's where Clark's very dangerous, Clinton.
A goal either way would make it very interesting over the next whatever's left, minute and a half, 2 minutes.
It certainly would. Maybe the Dolphins. Giorgio receives from Roberts. Straight down the middle to Clark. Hayward left high. That was good. Stringer. Good snap on the left foot. Very good indeed. Back goes the reliable Coughlin to force the rush behind.
Isn't he a dog-at-a-bone footballer, Coughlin? Fair dinkum, he doesn't look like he'd be a footballer. He went up to the Swans last year, didn't quite make it, but he's a great footballer in VFL.
Brings it into play. Shorts it for Hayward. Out towards the wing. Tregear was going towards it. That's Mitchell Grant. Now Tregear. Dragged down. Dolphins working hard. Stringer will have a bounce. 17 points our margin. Frankston with 2 wins and a loss from the opening 3 rounds. The Zebras with a win, a draw and a defeat. Can someone try and break it away late in this term? We've crossed 28 minutes. This could be the chance. Kennedy to half forward. Oh! He's got my 3 votes.
He's a genius, isn't he? He is fantastic, that bloke.
Coughlin to David Grant. Sullivan, a couple of former AFLers there, towards the boundary line over for a throw-in.
You know what's so good about him? He doesn't take his eyes off the ball, does he? He never takes his eyes off the football, and it just, look at him here.
Here it is.
And this is what makes him, he's got so much courage, he's got lovely poise, and it compensates for a lack of height.
Just back from suspension. He's a tough player too. McCormack over the ball.
He goes at it pretty hard. Yeah, he does. We like that in the box, don't we, Roscoe?
We do.
Don't want to hear that amateur stuff, you know, pussyfooting around the place.
29 minutes. Go on, look, that's what I'm going to put up with all afternoon.
I'm
Clinton's hiding for cover. Around the corner from Malloy, sends it very high. Clark, Stringer up a mile too early. Quick snap.
Oh,
that's a goal.
Who kicked that?
It might be Roberts or Mullane.
Lane.
Oh, they've let them off the hook again.
It's back.
Well, there were that many players caught out. It was almost impossible to even spot who would have kicked that. It was only the aftermath of a Mullane emerging and the players congratulated. We'll just see, where does it go here? Have a look at this.
Stringer's up too early.
Into a pack of players.
Oh, didn't miss
he?
our cameras.
He was front and square.
Gee,
Phil,
wasn't he?
short line.
And he had no time. The ball hit his hands and it went straight from his hands to his boot. Beautiful guy. I think he got it on the right foot, in fact, Roscoe.
And they've done it again. They've done it again. That goal came with about 2 seconds to spare, as it did at quarter time. In the first quarter, they had goals at the 25 and 29 minute mark. This quarter at the 26 and 29 minute mark. So they do it again. And Sandringham let them off the hook. It's not an 11-point game, is it, Phil? We look at that scoreboard, 8-6 to 6-7. You look at it and you think, gee, it's a thriller. But in the trend of play, Sandringham effectively dominating. They've just let them off the hook.
Well, look, Sandringham have been really good at ground level. It's still hard to even fathom that they aren't further ahead. But Frankston maybe have got just a touch more class in some spots, and that's compensating for the fact that they're not having as much of the ball. You see Mitchelson trying to tell his players there what's going on. This is going to be a great second half, though. This is really going to be a tight game. Good crowd down here at the Trevor Barker Beach Road Oval. Big game of football on your ABC in the second half, believe me. A really exciting game of football. Tough football, tight football, and some brilliant marking and goal kicking along the way.
There are the details to half-time. The goal kickers, Tim Scott Brannigan with 2 for Sandringham, but the headline act there, Nick Sortner with 4 goals across the opening half. Knott and Daniel Clark, 2 each for Frankston. Half-time here as the players take a well-deserved break on a warm afternoon at Sandringham 8-6-54. Frankston 6-7-43. Bev, this one is up for grabs, the battle for the Seaside Cup.
Thank you, Clinton.
The city of Frankston, Michael.
That is correct, and this is, we hope, to be a trophy which will be fought over each season between Frankston and Bayside here, and we hope to retain this today at Sandringham in Bayside.
And just the ball about to be bounced, but you're putting a lot of money into the ground.
Well, we have put a lot of money into the ground, and look, it's perfect condition today. We couldn't have asked for a better day for the game. And we're in front.
Okay. An unbiased Mayor of Bayside, Michael Harwood. A new cup between Frankston and Sandringham, the Seaside Cup. We'll present it after the game.
Okay, thanks for that, Ross. Ready to start the second half here. Sandringham 8-6. Frankston 6-7. It was the Zebras by 6 points at quarter time, 11 at the moment. Sortner with 12 possessions on the opening half and 4 goals. Scott Brannigan with 11. Quinn has 10. Giorgio with 11, the leader for the Dolphins. Underway, third quarter action. Frankston in the red, heading to the left. They get a high tackle to start. And they will come up with the opening clearance through Giorgio. The Zebras to the right of screen to start this second half. The Dolphins with a couple of late goals to get back in it. Gee whiz, that was too easy. Guy Stringer there comfortably. Now will he go to the big man Daniel Clark, who says bomb it long. He's one out in the square against Hayward. Although now I note Gilligan's dashing back to try and make this a contest. Stringer's inside the centre square. He's going to load up the drop punt off the side of the boot. Still Daniel Clark reaching it. Couldn't take it. Boundary throw in.
He's a bit of a wonky kick, Stringer. If he gets onto them, he can belt them. He doesn't guide it perfectly. And Clark, his problem, Clinton, is when he's offline, he doesn't tend to hold the ball. He needs to be perfectly placed. That's one of the shortcomings of his game.
He will contest against Gilligan. Gilligan in front, wins it down. McGeorge initially to clear it away. Now a chance for the Zebras to try and clear. This is Chad Liddell, the former Magpie. Delivery up towards half forward. The bounce eludes Magnuson initially. Working there against Bergman. Boundary line looming. A collision of bodies. We'll have a throw in. No change to that halftime score, 54-43. Getting a bird's eye view of the action.
Good crowd in too. A lot of the Oz kick groups and local football clubs. Bayside City Council done well. It'd be great to see all the councils with clubs, VFL clubs within their boundaries to get involved. This is an important game with a preeminent footy competition in Victoria.
Dolphins away. String of the target. Coghlan to beat. Neither can take it cleanly. David Grant, well done. Handball in the end comes the way of Heath Tregear. Very wide kick. Bounces in. Dolphins have 3-on-1. Malloy finding some of the footy to start this second half. Although Gilligan is there. Takes the overhead mark. Zebras. Now David Grant, which way? Caught in the end. Managed to get it away. Now McGeorge. Grubbing kick. Doesn't go anywhere. Giorgio is there. Onto the left. Looked awkward. Bingham is back there. He's well tackled. We will have a bounce. Ross Booth is back after organising a 20% discount on Bev O'Connor's rates for the next couple of months, perhaps.
Yes. Bev, I did the best I can. Put the cheque in the mail. Thanks, Bev. 11 points is the margin. Corn coming through. But, not like a train. He's held up.
It was good to see you with a well-spoken, debonair mare. I thought you were so similar, the pair of you. You know, class acts you were.
My hair not quite as grey yet. Yes.
How long have you been sitting alongside of
Leslie Nielsen had looked a bit like Holcomb. Fast, lucky he didn't put any of those gags. Oh, in the back. No, Quinn, unlucky, I thought, for the Zebras. Umpire letting it go. Kennedy underneath that pack.
Shadows extending over the ground. Roscoe's like something out of the Caribbean. A really good crowd in today. Down here at...
I've noticed, yes, VFL crowds have been up this year, Phil.
Yes, they have, Roscoe. On the march, I reckon.
4,500 at Whitten Oval last Sunday.
Where the Seagulls prevailed. Around the corner, Bergman. Grant, no, Gilligan it was, misjudging it. Tregear, solid in the back. One hand from Mitchell Grant. Chased by McCormack. Tregear again up to centre wing. Oh, misjudging it, but not Quinn. He's away. Kick into the corridor. Clears the pack at the back. Newen.
Oh, chance.
His teammate ran into a wall and dispossessed. Grabbed by Corn, and Giorgio relieves the pressure.
Giorgio with a kick to the outer side. Plenty of men back there. Mullane takes the mark. Good shepherd provided by Sullivan. And that's a free kick that's going to go the way of Lawrence Knott. Handball over the top. Sullivan kept on running. Good footy. Daniel Clark provides the lead. Now he'll have to double back. Clark has 2 to beat. Couldn't get it. Rushed over for a behind to Frankston. First score, second half. Margin 10 points. 4 of the 8 Frankston behinds have been rushed. Coghlan goes short for Mitchell Grant. One-on-one contest near the wing, over the head of Lovett. Overruns the footy, working with him Malloy. And we'll have a bounce. Close to the boundary line. You can hear the fans getting excited.
Oh, it's a ground where they can give you a nice mouthful, Clinton, and it's a nice, tight sort of ground, and you hear most of the abuse that comes over the fence if you actually happen to be the target of it. You wouldn't have been because you're such a decent man, but me being...
I was going to say...
Got plenty of it.
Forced over the boundary line deliberately. We'll have a boundary throw-in. Right in front of our cameras at boundary level. George flicks it to the back of the pack. No one is there. Riding a couple of bumps, David Grant. Comes the way of Paul Kennedy. Wraps it around his body. Inside 50. Not in front. Couldn't bring it down on the second effort. There's still a chance. They should get a goal. Streaking into goal, McCormack. James McCormack with, I think, probably his first possession of the day. It is. It's a goal. And all of a sudden, it's a 4-point margin.
There have been some good raps on James McCormack. He's only an 18-year-old. He'll be 19 in June. That's right, yeah. But I've heard some good stories coming back about him. A nifty left footer. Kennedy having trouble there with Knott. He never quite got the ball out of that zone and let it slip too politely there for Frankston. And that man, McCormack, was onto it, onto the left boot, bang. This is interesting. That Seaside Cup is rocking and rolling in the ocean there, Roscoe. I don't know which way it's going to fall.
Very close, Philip. McKellar pulled aground. Newen with pace. Butler after him. Oh, Newen got away. Did he? Got the hand pass. Tall pulled around. Wins a free. Clever play. Umpire Shearer. Newen's got a target in the pocket. Strong mark. Magnuson, is it? Sortner it is.
Tell you what, Newen's going to be a very interesting player, Roscoe. I like he's got a lot of class about him. Moves well. He's got a very smart football brain and his skills are great. That was a very neat kick, Clinton, wasn't it, to Sortner? And Sortner's within range. These are the goals they need, don't they?
Can he get number 5? Big kick. Straight kick. Number 5 it is. Nick Sortner at centre half forward.
I mean, I know it sounds a bit cliched to say these are the kind of goals they need, but when Frankston gets that one and that you think they're going to mount the charge, when you get an opportunity, it's really important to keep yourself poised, get the goal, people settle down and start to get that confidence up. You know, confidence is pretty important, as you see, we're seeing in football all over the place.
Well, Sortner kicked 2 of their 10 in the 40-point loss to Springvale last week. He's got 5 of their 9 here as they lead Frankston by 10 points. Gilligan wins it down. Mullane charges through, runs into Liddell. They collide afterwards. Beautifully done by McGeorge. Goes out wide. This is Sortner again. Burnell alongside of him. Boundary throw-in.
Tell you what, that McGeorge, when he's going, is exciting. How's the way he stepped through that pack there in the middle, Clinton, and just popped the ball on his left foot. Sortner probably could have marked that one.
He'll contest here. George, though, from behind, wins it down. Zebra player goes to ground. It was Quinn.
Oh, yes!
Phil, don't be so excited by that.
Well, that was just courageous play by Mitchelson. He just split the pack. I think he just split the pack. Yes, he did. Just took him on, got right in amongst it, just with the body. Nothing in it.
Ashley Roberts, the man who went down, he's up now, which is good news. We'll have another bounce.
Down like the old bag of spuds, Roscoe.
Graham Yates on the phone, on the blower. Oh, Graham, no, he's not on the blower. Yates is on the left.
Bailey alongside him, Roscoe.
Indeed.
Tim Rennett's in amongst the coaching this year too.
Up to Magnuson, sport away, snap.
Got it!
Sortner.
Number 6.
What a day he's having. 6 goals inside 2.5 quarters.
But you know, Ross, Nick Sortner's 21 years of age. Like, he seems to have been around at the Zebras for a while, and, you know, he's probably a player just really finding his way. A few injuries, I think, along the journey too, or the odd injury that just maybe pulled him up. But he's a player with poise, got good hands. He's not a big, solid bloke.
Yes, had a try at Melbourne, I think, was the club. But not too late.
Not the way he's playing now. He's got 6. That was almost a throw to Gilligan. They get away with it. Hurried a handball forward. Newen was there. A couple of players being dragged out of the contest. That was good work by McGeorge again, Phil. A nice, slick little handball, but the Zebras can't clear. We'll have another bounce. This game's still in the balance, though. We have had some beauties to start the season. A great one last week as Box Hill held off North Ballarat by 9 points. That thriller in round 2 as Williamstown kicked 2 in time on to steal it away from Coburg. And the grand final replay in round 1. Hope you're enjoying the VFL action on ABC Sport. George to take the free kick. They're away. A little bit of space to Corn. Ambitious on the bounce. Now goes. Delivery out wide. Stringer waiting under it. Good work in front. Coghlan to knock it down. McCormack was buffeted off it. Boundary line is looming. Mitchell Grant is there. High tackle. Sandringham free. Players want to go on.
That Coghlan, you called it, Clinton, there. The way he got his body just in the right spot, and he always just gets something, a finger, a hand, an arm, just into the contest to slip the ball out.
Mitchell Grant clears the defensive 50 with a kick. Oh, mark claimed by Corn. Umpire said touched. Giorgio the hand pass. Close to the boundary liners, love it. High centering kick. Daniel Clark had a couple to beat, was pushed too far underneath it. We'll have a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for the Dolphins.
Just wonder how Clark's back is holding up these days, Ross. We know over the last few years had a lot of trouble with the back. There he is on screen. He's very stiff around the back, and maybe this is one of the reasons why he's spending all his time in the forward line.
And he rucks that time down to Roberts. McKellar working hard. McGeorge wrapping it under. Frankston appealing for the free, but McGeorge too wily for that. Indicating he couldn't get rid of it. Right in front of the Social Club. Pressure here for the Dolphins. Though they're in attack, it's a bounce in front of the Social Club. That's a poor one. The umpire under pressure too. Now, should he bounce it again?
He should, shouldn't he? Really?
Was it touched? I think it was.
Been pretty good, the umpires today. I think I went on the record saying last week there were a couple of dicey decisions, but today on the job.
Yep.
Squared up. Roberts couldn't get away.
Well, they supplied him with the tracksuit before the season, the Umpires Association, and the shoes in the bag, and he comes out and sledges them.
It didn't work. So, still in that forward pocket. Goalmouth occupied by Clark and Hayward. Gilligan high. Another bounce.
Oh, we're going nowhere.
One down to go and still meterage to get. McGeorge. Where's George? 43 in the ruck for the Dolphins. Takes the front position. Gilligan gets him over the shoulder. Snap by Malloy. On the line is Clark, but
You're joking.
doesn't need to go for it because it's got the distance, and that came from nowhere from Bevan Malloy. And he gets the Dolphins back to the win. 10 points, 13 minutes, third quarter.
Was that coming out of nothing?
Well, it was similar to Mullane's, except he was further out, but it's just a pack of players, and the same. He gets one step on the right foot, Clinton, and she climbs home. Great goal. Gee, this has been a good game. A lot to like about it. Just fierce in close. Nothing really opening up. Players have really got to earn a kick today.
And we could be set for another thrilling finish. Now, who can get the centre clearance? A couple of bodies collide. Watson was brought down. We'll have a second bounce. As you see, Tim Scott Brannigan limbering up on the bench. High tackle out of the ruck contest. The Zebras will get it, going against George.
There's a bit going on in those contests, isn't there? Free kicks going to and fro.
Gilligan towards centre half forward. From behind, Magnuson couldn't get it. Burnell shovels it to the boundary line. That was his only option.
Gee, you've had a big influence too on the football, Clinton. Ross, you'd agree with me, the Water Boys, they've virtually disappeared from the game, haven't they? Clinton spoke up a couple of weeks ago and the administration said, we better do something.
It was embarrassing in round one. It really was, wasn't it? But they have not been a factor today, which is great. Love it. Coughlin again.
Second most powerful man behind Eddie. Clinton Gribus.
I believe he walked out earlier today too on his Triple M2. We won't do the same here. Oh, Coughlin, you give a guy a rap and look what happens. Gee, they wouldn't want to make an error here. Steady as they go. Quinn, got to get rid of it. Has to hurry. Now a 50-50 contest. Oh, good mark. Chad Liddell in the middle. His team leading by 10. Goes very, very wide towards Sortner. Oh, does it beautifully on the bounce. The handball, not all that flash, but he'll get a second effort here as if he needs to boost those statistics. On his knees, forcing the handball over the top for Ewan. Well done. 55 out. Left foot kick. With the man in front. Good to play in front. Mark Butler's got it.
Switching play. Bergman. Well, casually goes back the other way. Finessing, but they trail by 10 points. Now clear space for Manane. Ewan, attack of the cramps. Into half forward. Stringer goes up one-handed. At ground levels, Tregear. Wide and off the bench might have been Miles. Caught McGeorge unawares. So both sides a little bit indirect in the last minute or so. Over 16 minutes at Beach Road, the Trevor Barker Oval. Mullane in game 191. Good vision. Bit of a bobble there from Corn. Thumps it long. It's off the side a bit. Clark stretching and not quite enough.
Well done.
By Hayward. McCormack. Shorter and pacier in front of Quinn, a throw in. Still put 10 points.
Geez, he's stuck to his task, Hayward, hasn't he, boys? You know, he's really been there on Clark, and Clark's only got away from him a couple of times. Paul, how many marks to Clark? About 2 or 3, is it?
Clark, 3 kicks, 2 marks, 2 hit-outs, 2 goals. Zebras to clear, or they concede behind. Coghlan with a grubbing kick, hoping for the boundary line, willing it to go over, although in the end, his teammates were first there. But Mark Boone couldn't keep it in. Newen off the ground, getting some treatment. Boundary throw in. Frankston certainly not out of this. Only 10 points the margin. At the end of the ground, Stringer hurries a kick out. Daniel Clark, which way will it bounce? Oh, he tried to go towards it. He couldn't get it. That back may be stiffening up. Hayward soccers it over for a throw in.
I mean, he's a big man. He is a very, very big man.
200 centimetres, or about 6'6". In the old scale. This is Stringer. Can Clark reach this one? Yes. Well done. This should be his 3rd goal.
Well, that's when he's dangerous, when he's just going towards the ball, got it in the sights there, doesn't have to go sideways. When the ball's just off the line at a 45 degree, he has a bit of trouble, but on that occasion, he's able to run into it. He's a fairly handy kick. Good setting, you can see here, good crowd, a lot of colour down here at the Beach Road Oval, named, of course, now after Trevor Barker, the late Trevor Barker, who coached the side to 2 premierships. A great career here after St Kilda, a much-loved player around the place.
Now, can Daniel Clark finish the good work?
Oh.
No. Wow. They are costly. Set shots, close to goal. He gets it behind, 19-minute mark. 3rd term, margin, 9 points.
You can see some grimacing on the face of Daniel Clark. He's shaking his right leg.
Yes, I don't know, he's still in the cotton wool stage, I reckon, Roscoe. Those backs, they're pretty dicey, aren't they?
Can hardly run now. It's just Coghlan's running away to make an option. And Clark really is hobbling. Chopped off by Miles for the Dolphins. Clark calls for it in the centre. Hayward 10 metres in arrears, but coming with a leap now. Spoiling against Clark. Good shot of that. McKellar. Mullane threw McKellar out. He didn't have the ball. Got away with it. Flipped up. Around the corner, Stringer. Far too much.
Yours, Phil.
Gee, I tell you what.
And he jumped backwards, was it?
No, I was thinking it was still coming towards me. I haven't caught a football for a long time.
Bulletproof glass behind there, Phil. It's safe. You're safe. Tregear marks in the back pocket front of the social club.
Now, some of those monikers are a bit scary, believe me.
Tregear kicks towards the wing. Plenty of flyers. No one read it remotely well. Corns had plenty of the ball this second half. Finds Giorgio there. That's downfield. Should go Mullane. Should go quickly. He's got Stringer all alone. Now he sees him. Stringer will mark, will he? Oh, great defensive work by Boone over the top. Gives it to Coghlan. Now it's the Zebras on the rebound, and Coghlan finds Sortner. He's too far out this time. He just chips it to Mitchelson, and he'll have a shot in how quickly things can change. Instead of Frankston trying to cut it back to a 3-point margin, it could be 15 here if Mitchelson can goal.
And it should have been, Clinton, really. There was enough space there, wasn't there? Yeah. Really, Mullane should have done better than that.
Just
should have moved quickly.
Almost.
Yes, he did. And it was a great piece of work by the Sandringham player, who was that?
Boone. Mark
Boone, yeah. Great punch, just at the critical moment.
So Mitchelson with the kick, misses to the near side. A lid off this time. Again for the Dolphins. Margin 10 points.
Well, Frankston have never led. They just can't draw level. Watson. Oh. Quinn spoiling him. Magnuson rucking for the Zebras. Giorgio through the middle. Looking for Stringer. Coughlin scrags him. That's a free. Well spotted by the umpire. Had the hand over the shoulder. We might see it again. Adam Coughlin getting away that free. Stringer. Can he get them within a goal? They've got within a point in the last in the second quarter. Guy Stringer. Distance again, but astray.
Well, you'd agree with me, Ross. I'm sure with Stringer, he just doesn't quite guide the ball perfectly, and so there's a bit of room. There's a bit of error there in the kicking.
10-7 to 8-10. Mitchell Grant in the back pocket. You see what he sees there. Men streaming towards the boundary line. Just pops it up towards the pack. Is that dragged down? It's going to be paid. Good mark, says the umpire for Heath Tregear.
That's the sort of umpire you like when he tells you it's a good mark, Clinton.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple of votes, son. He might say it's a bad kick now, though, because it's out on the full. Paul Kennedy plays on quickly. That's what we like to see. Get it moving. Kick towards half forward. Oh, waiting there and falling into the arms. Well read. Mitchell Grant. Now they switch to the outer side, and the Zebras have plenty of men running. Hayward takes the mark. He's got a couple in front. He's got a couple to shepherd. He can keep on going. It's a foot race now. He's like he's at Stall on Easter Monday, and he slips as he gets near the line, and it was a throw. Oh, now he hopes the ground will open up and swallow him.
Poor Danny Clark, he's run a mile, now he's running back.
Stringer the target of this kick. And he's got it, well done. Should go, he's got Clark one-on-one in the square, over the top, good pass. And Lovett, Ben Lovett's got it. And now they can cut it back to 3 points. We've just ticked into time on of the third quarter.
Yeah, that's good now. That's good.
And this is a very important kick. That's what he's aiming at. He's got it. Not too many Dolphin fans at the ground. Frankston back within 3 points. Again, the Zebras had extended their lead. They got out by 16 midway through this quarter, but Frankston get back.
Gee, I tell you what, Stringer's playing a very good game. Paul will tell me, maybe you've already said, Paul or Clinton, how many marks Stringer's taken, but there've been plenty. 6 marks, and they've been good ones too. And very important goal. You're about to smile at Ross. Tell me, come on, spit it out.
Who was the star footballer in the club? Wasn't it Rick Hayward? I think it was a Hayward. Anyway, I don't think it's the same one. Webb comes out of the middle for the Zebras, trying to increase that lead of 3 points. And they may have a chance. Around the corner from Mitchell Grant, straight to the Zebras, Dolphins there, and captain Shane Bergman. The roar of the crowd went up and didn't have the carry. Out to David Grant, 2-on-1. Agnello tackles him. Did he have it? No.
He's given it to David. It was actually David Grant who kicked that last ball at the goals, Ross. Was it? It was a big kick just on the line. He's one of the favourites, isn't he, David Grant?
He definitely wasn't in possession there. Puts it to the top of the square. Looking for Gilligan. Ooh. Quinn was there too. It was a bit close. High tackle on Oakley. Put the body in. Just bent a bit at the knees and won the free against Kennedy. Lachlan Oakley out injured today. Ben's playing. Off the bench. Kick straight. Makes it a 9-point lead.
Yes, good goal. He stepped through the pack and took it, of course. Son of Dennis Oakley. Played 103 games, kicked 425 goals with the Zebras, and of course Dennis, the brother of Ross Oakley. He was down here, Roscoe, wasn't he, 2 years ago? We came down for the big turn before the grand final, and Dennis spoke.
very entertaining.
Yes, he was a very, very entertaining man. Great footballer with the Sandringham side.
Almost as entertaining as your interview with Neil Busy, as I recall.
Don't mention the war.
23 minutes gone, third term. Sandringham by 9 points. Mitchelson, can they squeeze out another late one before the three-quarter time siren? David Grant wheels onto the right boot, kick inside 50. Sortner goes down, gets up quickly. Bergman with the fist away. Liddell was tackled, got the hand pass away. McKillar gets it towards Bingham. He was dragged off it. This is Kennedy. Hurried snapshot across the face of goal, and Bergman marks. No, it was out on the full first. Plays on anyway. Well done. Finds Lovett. Frankston trailing by 9 points, down by 6 at quarter time, 11 at half time. And plenty of roars, plenty of fans trying to help out the umpires, and Coughlin, who must feature prominently, you would fancy, in the voting for the best on the ground, finds Mitchelson. Not that I'm trying to influence the panel. Kicks it up towards the half-forward line. Now a chance for Lovett. He's shown a little bit this term. Breaks away. Kicks inside 50. Clark loping after it. Won't get there. Miles lost it. Here's a chance for McCormick perhaps. Had it knocked away. Oh, still McCormick working very hard. Running out of room. Boundary throw in. Frankston deep in attack. Time running out in this third term. 73 plays 64. They've dominated the time on period, the Frankston team in this match. Clark won it again. McCormick went without it. Oh, it's risky now. Good kick, good clearing kick from McGeorge. Bounces away. Agnello will get there first. The bounce eludes him. Sullivan, will he go off the ground? Oh, he missed it. And it's costly because the Zebras are away as Mitchelson sends it out wide, over for a throw-in.
If Sandy do win and you go in the rooms afterwards, you must ask McGeorge whether he's following the Scottish elections, the preparation for the Scottish elections. Those nationalists are struggling a bit, Ross. Might need to send him over.
He might be from Northern Ireland, Phil. At Quinn to Gilligan. Quinn again. Over the head of McKellar. Sits for him. One step and a kick was good. Sortner got the hand to it. He's still fighting on, trying to find a teammate. Back with Sortner. Finally, Kennedy. No, he didn't get his foot to it. Paul Kennedy for the Sandringham. Paul Kennedy again gets to this. Kennedy. Reminds me of that Monty Python script where all the football players were called Pratt. It's a classic. And see that, Clinton?
No.
A bit too young. Phil?
I don't know if I have seen that one, Roscoe, but
Butler kicked in.
Not a good one. Sandringham had plenty of players there, but they don't come up with possession. It's Mullane initially finding Giorgio. He finds the boundary line. 10 points the margin. Sandringham with 15 more kicks and 32 more handballs. So they've had more of the ball, but still yet to really convert. Giorgio with 18 possessions in the match so far. Having a good one. Agnello wins it down. Well done, Malloy, forcing it on. Webb takes it on his chest. And that'll do us.
No goal this time.
For three-quarter time. No, they had their chance, didn't they? 29-minute mark of the third term. So with a quarter to play, it looks like we're in for another ABC Match of the Day thriller. That is how it stands. Sandringham 11-8-74. Frankston 9-10-64. Phil, the margin 10 points. Do you want to call this one?
Well, look, Clinton, Sandringham will come home to the social club end, which is the end, of course, where they have a lot of supporters, so they'll be G'd up by that. They've done really well. They've been terrific. And that bloke on screen, Coughlin, I tell you what, I like him as a player. He goes at it so hard. If he was just a little bit taller, he would certainly have made AFL football. We'll see the scores there. 3 goals that time to Sandy, 3 to Frankston. And importantly, as Clint said, they didn't get that goal in the time on Frankston. We are in for an absolute beauty in the last quarter.
The
great game.
Sorry, Phil, the difference, Nick Sortner there. The only dominant goal kicker on the ground, he's got 6.
Hasn't he played exquisitely? Yeah. Beautiful overhead. Coming of age as a footballer, I think, 21 years of age. Good to see the Scott Brannigan in amongst it. He is a very important player. So Daniel Clark been well held. So very, very interesting last quarter coming up.
30 minutes to play. Sandringham 11-8-74. Frankston 9-10-64. Bev, 10 points the difference with 1 quarter remaining.
Very exciting, as you say, lads. Now, updating scores from around the grounds. First up to Optus Oval for the Carlton-Geelong match. 8 goals, 8.56.
Down to Robert Mace, Bev, the first-year coach of Frankston.
Give it a look. They'll have one bloke back. Make sure you're back there. And you can get it. Come on. You're not going to win it if you're going to give them another free kick for a goal, or if you're going to keep falling over. Right? Take short steps on the ground when turning. Short little steps. Keep your balance. Keep your feet. Let's give it a real red hot. Play on. Move the ball. Run around the bloke in the mark. You do it, right? Let's take a chance. Handball, play on, let's kick goals. Come on, boys. Get them going. Come on. Go, Dolph. Boys.
So Robert Mace down there with the Frankston team, trailing by 10 points. Pivotal game either way as we check some of the highlights on the third quarter. McCormick's first kick of the day was a good one. If Frankston win this, they're 3-1. If they lose, they're 2-2 and back in the pack. Likewise, a Sandringham win will get them to 2-1-1. They had a draw, but a loss will put them 1-1-2. So they're playing for plenty, and this man, Nick Sortner, with 6 goals, Phil, has proved to be very, very important for the Zebras.
Well, he certainly has, Clinton. I've seen him play a handful of times, and I've wondered whether he could be a star player. I thought he's more of a fill-in player. But I've got to say, on today's performance, I'm seeing things about him that indicate he could go on and be a really pivotal player for the Sandringham side. And again, as I say, he's only a 21-year-old, or going on 22, I think. But we've seen some good goals kicked from around the traps there. That was Malloy, wasn't it, who slipped that one through. Just as Mullane had done in the second quarter. And Stringer, he really lifted, took a handful of marks, and the Frankston side looked like it was finding its feet. And I know that's a pun because Robert Mace thinks they haven't found their feet, and he's been at pains to explain to them they should stop slipping over. The kicks, Sandy's still ahead in all those departments, and the hit-outs are even so. They've had more of the football, and they're just got their head in front. Roscoe, we just heard Robbie Mace. I got the impression Mace really was feeling a bit almost despondent. There was an air of desperation in there. How was it in the other camp?
Oh, not desperate, but pretty excited, Graham Yates, asking the players for concentration. Rhetorical question, do we have the legs? He's a bit worried about that. Tom McGilligan, how are you? Also criticising his players for not standing up, falling over and going to ground. So both coaches hot on that. But he's got Grant and Sordner and Liddell up there on the forward line asking them for a contest. And if they can concentrate and run for 4 quarters, Graham Yates thinks they've got it home. They've got it won.
Who do you like, Ross?
I don't know. I think it'd go either way. I'll still go for Frankston.
Okay, thanks for that.
It's interesting, too, that you've got Kennedy in the goal square on Bergen.
Oh.
That's Kennedy for Sandy, so they've moved them around. Let's see if they adapt to that.
You've got to think Kennedy's going to be too fleet of foot. Agnello, it looked like there, winning it down. It was Frankston to try and head forward early. Going to ground, Stringer, got up beautifully, kept his balance, kicks to fall forward. Daniel Clark.
Yes.
Oh, what a start this is. Now can he finish it off? Terrific opening. Bring you the leading possession winners. Coghlan with 19 for Sandringham. Sortner with 17 in those 6 goals. Mitchelson, McGeorge, both with 13. David Grant, 16. This is a big kick. It'll make it 4 points. Shouldn't miss. He decides to run around. He snaps it home anyway. He's got 3. And that took 55 seconds. Oh, indeed.
Yes. Excuse me, Mike Moore, for imitating you there, but I got to say, because that's what it's like. And again, Clinton, when the ball goes into the air, as this did, Stringer there slipping over.
Nice, he got it beautifully.
Beautiful. And look at it go into the air. Once it goes in the air like that, Clark will do you, because when it's perpendicular, he's impossible to beat against a smaller player. It could be the match winner.
Start again towards half forward, landed between a couple. Lovett was one of them there.
Well, Ross, we crossed from Beverley at 3/4 time. We saw the yachts out out in this Sandringham beach area, and I think we spotted your boat there.
Yes.
The multi-million-dollar majestic Prince boat of Ross Booth was out there on the water.
I'm sure that's the one
he sailed into the venue today, didn't he? Just parked out the back.
I had to motor in. Wasn't much breeze, Phil. But if you move down here, perhaps you can get one too.
Yeah. I wish.
From the bounce. Now Mullane, too far out to score, but he can really set them up. Where's Clark? Is amongst this. Ball knocked away. Agnello slipped over at the wrong time. McCormick there. Handball out. Oh, it's stolen away. Not the good one. And now a chance for Gilligan to clear. Gets away. Just from Malloy, who was coming after him towards Boone, waiting underneath it. Working the contest. Holcomb did well. This is Boone. And a good spoil at one stage in the third quarter. Now he's caught. Runs into Burn nil. Close to the boundary line. Will have a throw in.
Went the wrong way, Clinton. Look, the viewers wouldn't have spotted that, but if he'd gone to the right, or to the left, sorry, as you on the screen, he could have found a player.
Phil, when I said I was still going for Frankston, I forgot I was doing it in front of Jack Barker and Cole Shipley. I got hell.
What did Jack reckon?
The Zebras were home. I don't think he's that confident. Mitchelson, the captain, took his time, had an opportunity, the hand pass, tried to fend off the tackler, got away with it. Magnello got a hand in it. Bingham, McKellar goes to ground. The backhand out of the pack. Is that a possession? Quinn on the left foot. Spoiling. No, Liddell in front of Vokes. Couple of juggling marks from Liddell, holding his position well. Now looking for Grant, looking for that big mark up forward. It falls. Boone off the ground. He's trying to finesse, trying to get around the man. Here's David Grant into Sortner. Bergman fists away. Butler, little give to Vokes, a fumble. Butler shepherded very well against a good running player in Scott Brannigan.
Vokes had to be precise with that kick and finds Mullane on the half-back. Frankston have not led all day. They're down by 4 points. 4-minute mark, final quarter. Another thriller for us. Round 4 of the VFL. Mullane up to the wing. A stack of players there. Agnello, first hands on it, couldn't bring it down, but he does well to fist it on. Although getting in the way was Tregear. Kick back towards centre half forward. Oh, good mark over the top. Adam Quinn has done some good stuff today. Now, Kennedy leads out. Bergman, meanwhile, is back on Sortner. That early match-up against Kennedy was changed quickly by Robert Mace, if not by Bergman himself. Now Adam Quinn. A goal in the first quarter. You'd fancy right on the edge of his limit. And that will be proven correct. Back there. Liddell, nearly not quite. Crowd wanted it, not forthcoming. There's still half a chance. Scott Brannigan there. Props, plays for the free. Doesn't get it. Good work by Butler, forcing it out in the end. The snap towards the line. Mullane is there. Oh, they've got loose men. Now they can go. Agnello can have a couple of bounces and then deliver towards half forward. Handball over the top, though, instead to Malloy. Frankston away.
Through Malloy to half forward. Oh, Grant stretched. Couldn't get it, bring it in. Out by Miles. It's hectic. Webb. Oh, gets unloaded just as he kicked up to Watson. He scores. Misses it. And now it's a chance. Quinn. Sortner leads forward. Quinn might go over his head and he misses. Away to the left. Perhaps Sortner might have been better to double back there, Phil.
Yes, definitely. Because Quinn wasn't on his right line there. He needed to just set himself up better.
Oh, Bergman almost turned it over. Mullane.
They get away with it, don't they? Now Agnello has a loose man and half forward. Taking it and can play on. That's Holcomb. Kicks towards the 50. Knocked away from Miles. Now the pressure's on. Well done by Miles. He's too far out to score. He drives it deep towards Clark. Well, they have not led all day. And if Daniel Clark kicks his 4th here, they are in front. Big time to step up.
Well, they haven't had a player there to match him all day. The blokes, they've done the job. Hayward has been able to get the ball away from him, but it's a big ask for a whole game. 5 marks. But gee, if he ends up with about 8 marks by the end of the game, they'll have won the game, Clinton.
Indeed, indeed. A vital kick. This for the lead for the first time for the Dolphins.
Yes,
and he's got it. They're in front. Oh, he's got 4. And at the 7-minute mark of the last quarter, Frankston edge in front by 2 points.
Well, he's the competition's leading goal kicker. He's getting up round the 4 and a bit. He kicked 6 in one of the games. I think that's right. Roscoe would have to just check that, but 4 last week. And as we say, he's taken 5 marks. Now got 4 goals. and he's dangerous, very dangerous.
18 for the season. And a match against the Sandford coming up in May. Peter Waitman, the coach here, watching on. Malloy's thrown out of the pack. It's rugged. That won't come out. There'll be about 7 minutes. Final term.
Should say we'll have that match against the Sandford live from the MCG on May 29.
Live into South Australia, delayed into Victoria.
You have to be on your best behaviour, Phil.
Yes, they're a bit demure over there, aren't they?
Butler, Webb. It's probably carried 10 metres. Spoiling was Vokes. Quinn, he spotted someone. Good kick, wasn't it, to David Grant.
And Roscoe, if you had your money, if you had that expensive boudoir of yours in Toorak on this game, you'd want this bloke kicking for your life, wouldn't you?
Let me have a look. Seeing him put such a high price on it. It's not true.
It's a $500,000 kick.
Well, he's better known as an offender. Maybe I'd like Nick Sorton at kicking. Let's see. It's all right.
Oh, you've lost it, Ross.
I said Sorton.
Okay.
But Grant is such a neat kicker, the football. You know, you would expect him to kick those. Been a big day here. All the kids at the ground. You see them there. The VicSafe kids. Or Auskick kids, they are actually, aren't they, these days?
And Vegemite kids.
They're safe kids, they're free kids, and they're okay. Butler clears the defensive 50. Here's another go for the Zebras. Chad Waddell won't miss, will he? Chad Waddell does miss, and we are tied at 76. Oh, that was close as well. Nervous time for the rookie coaches. A very tense finish coming up.
He's recycled, Robert Mace. Recycled rookie.
Rookie at Frankston.
Now, what can Butler do? He's just bunting long. At the fours, Malloy maybe got one over the shoulder. Umpire said no. Might come out the back. No. 9 minutes in. Final term scores level.
What you do know, Rosso, is every time Frankston gets inside 50 or about the 30, they're going to have Clark. Sandringham will have Clark to contend with it. The other end, Shaw Sorton has kicked the goals, but he has to work pretty hard to get them.
Yeah, all the forwards up the ground. Clark alone at the opposite end of the ground. Here it comes. Sullivan won't reach to Clark. Stringer will get back into the pack. Good spoil by Coughlin. Well roved by Boone. Newen back on the ground. Whips out the hand pass. McGeorge has been very good. Got a big cheer at three-quarter time when praised by the coach Yates. Might have been Hayward. It's Hayward taking the mark, so he couldn't have kicked it to himself. He's got
it came from Boone.
Wing. Hayward looks to Sordner. Bergman, the class opponent.
Yeah.
Affects the spoils. Tim Scott Brannigan. Will it do a leg break, Phil? No, not enough.
But that's the thing, Ross, isn't it? That Sordner is going to have Bergman to contend with in this last quarter when it's really critical, whereas you've got to concede that Sandringham are one tall defender short in their back half. Sandy just a point in front. You see it, 77-76.
Butler to bring it back into play. Into the centre square with a long kick. Rovers required Waddell. Oh, putting the head down. Mitchelson well tackled, will have a bounce.
Yes, charging through like the runaway bull, Mitchelson, the captain.
11-11 plays 11-10. Sandringham by a point. From the bounce, Hayward towards Sortner. Bergman there to apply the tackle, taken over by Lovett. Boundary throw-in. Nervous wait for those closely involved with these two teams. About 18 minutes to go. Being dragged down was Watson. Urgings from the social club. Which way will this one go? Hayward up. Gets it down. Oh, it's another crash of bodies, and finally it's flung out. Sortner waiting, wrestling with Bergman. Bergman knocks it down. They Probably don't want to concede a behind. Now it's a foot race. No one within 50 metres. Although charging fast as Giorgio. Will he get it just in time? He will. Oh, he almost throws that out. He got a beautiful handball to Malloy. They've done this well. The kick to a 1-on-2 contest, but it comes off. Lawrence Knott's got it. He's too far out to score. He'll load it up and go to Daniel Clark. He's delivered so far this quarter. Can he do it again? Is he pushed? No. Dolphin fans wanted a free. McCormick's got it. He steadies onto the left. Snap. Goal. Great goal. James McCormick, a fantastic goal. And Frankston are back in front.
Well, the Zebras have put Magnuson back onto Clark. They've moved Hayward out because he hasn't got the height. And I think that's a pretty good move too when things are tight in this last quarter and the talls just continue to stand tall. But we saw here the contest. Magnuson in against Clark. Does well, actually. Keeps him out, punches the ball down. But McCormick slips onto it. He's a left footer. So instead of slipping it through on the right, he comes back, and really he should have been cut off on his left side.
Yeah, perhaps players not knowing him well enough. New player from Seaford, Sullivan. They've kicked 3 in the term, the Dolphins, from 50. Heads goal, he's a goal kicker. And that's 4 goals in 13 minutes and 2 in a minute to the Dolphins. Lovely finish, Chris Sullivan. His first.
Well, you're dead right, Ross, but a bloke like McCormack, being a left footer, you really should know that. Every player should be aware of a bloke playing in the forward pocket being a left footer, and the fact that he might slip back. That's the previous goal anyway. But Sullivan there following up and slipping that one through. They're on a roll now, the Dolphins. Always gave you the impression that once they moved, they had a little bit more class, Clinton, than the Zebras.
They've kicked 4 straight to 3 behinds in this final quarter. They've kicked 6 of the last 7 goals and are running all over the top. Although, speaking of all over the top, Watson was buried there. We will have a bounce. Now it's Sandringham who has to play catch-up. They're down by 11 points. The locals are getting restless. They've consumed a few on the beautiful afternoon.
I saw the umpire's advisor up there, Roscoe, the boss.
From the bounce, Malloy wrestling. Agnello will do it again. Sandringham led by 24 points at the 24-minute mark of the second quarter. But since then, things really haven't gone their way. It's been 9 goals to 3. Still time either way. Agnello lost it to Hayward. Got it down well. Webb to full forward. Sortner. I was hoping for it. He's got it. And can he get number 7? No, he can't. He'll get a free. He'll get a free, and he can line up number 7. Bergman not happy with the decision. Here it is again.
Back to him.
Oh, well.
Here it is here.
No doubt about it.
Frankston, right.
This for number 7. Well, which way will this one go now? Halfway through the final quarter, Sandringham back within 5 as Sortner gets his 7th.
Well, he showed just a touch of poise then, Sortner, didn't he? He knew that if he kicked in the first instance, he wasn't going to get the score he needed. So he stopped, attempted to balk, and collected that free kick. And we'll see it here. He goes around. He knows that's going to be cut off. And then, yes, Bergman lays the tackle, but it's too high. 3 of
Sortner's 7 goals coming from free kicks. 4 of Sandringham's 12 also from frees.
Almost a ledger. Square, that is. Scrambling are the Dolphins. Back through the legs. Paul Kennedy. Burnell. Put the slipper in.
Umpire Ackland there letting it go. His hobbies, Roscoe, cricket, tennis, basketball and swimming. I would have thought boxing maybe was a favourite. Kickboxing.
Umpire Ackland to bounce it. 16 minutes in. The final term. Thumping punch. Volleyed by Lovett for the Dolphins. He follows it up. Misses Burnell with his hand pass, but it may not let the Zebras in. Burnell in possession. Kennedy wants a free. It's not there.
It's hitting up a couple of places off camera. Malloy was shaping up. Good couple of duels. Hayward went a week too soon. And in the end, it was punched down to Quinn towards centre half forward. Here's a go for Liddell. This for the lead.
lead. Yes! What a game!
Wrong foot too.
Yes, Roscoe.
Well, just as you get ready to write the Zebras off, having fallen 11 points behind, they kicked 2 goals in 2 minutes and they're back in front.
Well, it travelled like a kick that wasn't on the preferred side, didn't it? You'll see him here. He's in the pack, just under the pack. He throws it onto that right foot and he just gets enough strength into it to carry it over Bergman's head. What a tremendous game. Being played out for the Seaside Cup down in sunny Sandringham.
4 lead changes in this term. For now, it's the Zebras. 17.5 on the clock. Haywood, he went in the ruck against Preston and did well. McGeorge had a good game. Up to Liddell again with Folkes. Liddell turns and runs goalward on his preferred foot. Centering kick towards a dangerous Sortner. Here comes Sortner. Crash. But Dolphins have the numbers. Butler, Mullane.
Been good, Mullane, Ross.
Malloy, straight down the middle. Contested is Agnello. Where's Clark? He puts it up high, put out in front of him. Oh, leapt through. Chance. McCormack for his second. Misses. Scores level.
Magnuson and Clark together. Clinton, I saw you sort of half chuckling at that. It was something special, wasn't it?
It was good to watch.
They're not exactly the most fluent players when the ball's on the deck, I can tell you, but it's good to watch.
The turning circle bigger than Ross's yacht as we come up towards time on in the last quarter, and we're tied at 89. Phil, you've orchestrated these finishes for our match of the day pretty well in the last 3 weeks. Williamstown and Coburg decided in time on a fortnight ago. Likewise last week, Box Hill and North Ballarat. And now time on in the last quarter to decide this one.
Well, our vast television audience is really getting excitement value at the moment in the VFL.
Oh, a risky kick from Coghlan. It was touched, I fancy. It toes the line. And now we'll have a boundary throw-in. That was Campbell McKellar, number 24 on your screen. Well, which way will this one go? The Zebras dominant for most of the game. Frankston the big last quarter. George knocks it down. Mullane could be the hero. He's got it.
He's played well.
He's got his second.
Gee, he's played well off the interchange, Clinton, hasn't he?
He has.
How many possessions?
16 possessions, 6 marks, 2 goals. What a game from Sean Mullane.
We'll see 3 goals last week. I'm not sure whether he started on the interchange last week, but he's a very handy player to come off the interchange. You know, you've got to realise he's only a 30-year-old player. He's 31 during the year. He's a smart player. He's good near the goals. He's a creative player. He's got great pace, but he's very well balanced. Good player. Great VFL player.
Umpires incur the wrath of the Zebra supporters. Not out of the area yet. It's tough to get a kick. Quinn pulls it back under. Squirted out. That might have been Butler with a quick kick. Coming at full pace was Stringer at half-forward. 20 minutes gone. And he heads towards the big fellow, Daniel Clark. He's one out now. He's no longer one out as the pack descends on him. He may rove this. He's too slow. Malloy overruns it. Chance. It's hand passed out towards Mullane. Can he get his third? Around the corner, Mullane. Oh, dream finish. Sean Mullane in his 191st game. 3 goals. And he may take this side, the Dolphins, to a win. Coming from behind against the Zebras.
Well, he's just been fantastic, really, to come off the interchange and do what he's done. Good thinking probably by Robbie Mace to use him this way. McCormack there, left footer on the left side there, slips it out. And you know, Ross, I think we all fancied he'd kick that, didn't we? Once the ball bounced into his hands, he's very good at slipping those ones round the body. That Seaside Cup looks to be floating towards the peninsula, the other end of the peninsula, Frankston.
Been a grandstand finish from the Dolphins. 9 goals in the first 3 quarters, 6 so far in the 21 minutes of this final term. What a great match this has been. Speaking of great matches, ABC Radio Sport has the AFL tonight. The Kangaroos up against St Kilda in Sydney, and Collingwood and the Bombers tomorrow. Kennedy's kick smothered. They're away again. Butler towards Stringer from behind. Coughlin's worked very hard all day. Punched it away, now gathers possession. Fakes the hand pass, grubbers a kick to the boundary line, finds it, stop the clock, will have a throw in. Burnell almost a smile there. Frankston. This will be almost a steal. 12 points the lead. 89 to 101. Hayward from behind takes it. They will not give up. They've still got 7 or 8 minutes. There's still time. McKellar hurries a kick forward. Dolphins in the spot. Oh, David Grant flew. Couldn't get it. Liddell, handball away. Coughlin on the wing. Forces it. Mitchelson, good handball. Can they try and set something up? Now they can look to go. High ball towards half forward. They can get there. Oh, putting the body on the line was David Grant again, but he didn't come up with possession. Now it's on the wing. Taken by Corn. Well tackled Mitchelson. Corn comes up with it again. Left foot kick towards the middle and working in front for Lane. Couldn't quite take it. Now a chance. Steaming out of the pack. McGeorge to... Liddell could keep going. Sortner for number 8.
What a game!
He's got 8.
What a game!
6 points in it. 5 minutes left. Can you believe it?
What about that mark?
Oh.
Was that Little that took that grab? Chad Liddell, I should say. I'm getting too excited. That is one of the best marks you will ever see. It is an absolute blinder under immense pressure. Have a look at this.
McGeorge the kick.
Look at where... And he keeps going. He gets the split like the train running through right down the middle there. Bang!
Right through, across
I can't
through
think of which particular
Hampton
line.
Street,
Roscoe.
the Sandringham line.
Beautiful.
Just up the road. Still time for the Zebras. 23.5 minutes on the clock, and they have possession. It's captain Mitchelson. Liddell makes a lead. Not yet, says the umpire. Now play on. As he runs off the line, he slips. He holds his feet. He gives it to Nguyen. Nguyen in turn to Mitchell. Grant little chip. Diving was... did he mark it? I didn't think he did.
That was a bump ball.
Half volley.
Go to the videotape.
The umpire has it. Here it is.
Here it is.
Flip the coin. Too far out. No, he's within scoring distance.
You reckon he's in range?
Yeah, we're the man on the mark. He'll kick from just inside 50.
24-minute mark.
He'll level the scores if he kicks truly and straight it over long enough. It won't get the distance, or will it? Where's George's there? The whole pack thought it was going to fall underneath the ball. It was going to go through.
Gee, and they rushed to behind too, instead of trying to head for the boundary line. There's the situation.
What a ripper game. Gee, you know, this Sandringham fighting so hard at ground level, always against the side, but I fancy he's got a little bit more class. So that's what's making such an exciting game.
4 minutes to go or thereabouts, you would fancy. Butler decides to go long, and why not? Bergman can't take it. Not on the first effort. He's dragged down. Will bounce it in the middle.
Good decision there by umpire Ackland. There's a suggestion maybe it was high, but this is tight stuff now. No charity free kicks required.
From the bounce. Going without it was Giorgio. They managed to soccer it up towards half forward for the Dolphins. Coughlin is there. Kick partially smothered. It's okay. Oakley's got it. Now the switch to the outer side, having to put the hard yard, Scott Brannigan. Burnell from behind, the good punch away. Loose ball towards half forward. Now they work. Hayward does very well. Still time for the Zebras. Back to Hayward. Well done. Short pass. Good. Kennedy. They can keep going. Sortner leading out. He's got 8. Sortner with the set. Liddell can't take it. Working hard now. Kennedy caught. Gets it away. Finds his teammate in Lovett. Out towards the wing. And Burnell takes a safety mark as we come up on 26 minutes. Frankston by 5 points.
How many goals we had? 5 for the term.
Frankston have kicked 6, Sandringham have kicked 3.
Right, so we've got a little while to go, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 4 minutes of play to go.
Oh, Kennedy should have done better though, Roscoe. That was a golden opportunity.
Bit slow. Sortner was one out. Butler there, just slowing things down, the Dolphins, leading by 5 points. Butler on centre wing, bangs it high, looking for big Daniel Clark. He's there. Magnuson spoiling him, just manages to eke it away. And a bounce. Robbie Mace.
Keep on him, son.
Who's 45? Instructions to the runner.
Newen.
Who's got him, he means, doesn't he? They're in attack, the Dolphins. Hayward working his body in the ruck. Big pack. Coughlin trying to get it clear.
Good
Just
work by
time
Frankston.
wasting.
Yeah, the clock keeps going here.
And Malloy won't get up. There's a whistle gone. Thank you, he says. 96-101, you can see. The Dolphins lead. They didn't hit the front till this final term. We had about 5 lead changes in this quarter. Hayward 21. McGeorge 12, couldn't grab it. The Zebras need to go forward desperately, but it's Frankston. Wide and a penalty kick. The Dolphins have possession.
Gee, behind there would have meant you think the Dolphins couldn't lose the game. It might be a draw, but it's only a 5-point margin. The kick beyond the defensive 50. George in front, wasn't paid. Scott Brannigan the rove. Now the kick towards the wing, bouncing towards the line. Corn keeps it in, does well. Giorgio close to the line. Will they take it over? Eventually it does. That will stop the timer between wing and half forward for the Dolphins.
Well, it's really about the last chance, isn't it, Clinton? You would think, to get the ball down if it sort of lingers in that midfield area. Probably, what would you think? A minute to go?
Well, we're at the 28-minute mark. It's been a 9-goal final quarter, so perhaps a little bit of time. Malena's there, scoops it up nicely. The kick goes inside 50. Punched away back to the boundary line and over by Mark Boone. Well, what a dramatic finish coming up. Is there time for Sandringham, who led for the first 3 quarters and part of the last? George in front. They just need to get it going. They've got it the wrong end of the ground. And now McCormick, who's been impressive on the run from the boundary line across the face. Is that a mark? No, boundary throw in.